Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Oh man, oh man. MG Rage Shizzy at 2 o'clock in the morning. Awesome. Good to see you. How you doing? Don't forget to hit the like button. Good morning all. Good morning, Roxanne. Good morning, Lexi, JD fan, Wendy, and Ingrid. Patrick W. It's already said Brenda. Zach, good to see you this morning. And said I'll be there in a few. Morning, Debbie Webb. Sorry if I'm running late. As I said earlier this week, I've been sick, so why you haven't seen me at night. Been trying to get some sleep. There's a couple of things I wanted to cover, but I just haven't not had the time or the physical ability to do it. So I am feeling better. I've slept for probably a good 16, 17 hours yesterday, and then slept all night. Oh man. No, it's been a hectic, crazy, busy week. It's good to see all you fine folks. I hope that you all are doing well, as I am doing much better. Well, just lots of rest and food and water. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm resting, restoring, and getting there. I'm not pushing myself at all. So that's why I've been late in the mornings. I've woken up, just rolled over, and gone back to sleep because my physically just hurts. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. I don't expect it to last too much longer. So yeah, we got Hurricane Ernesto is strengthened to a Category 2 storm Thursday as it barreled towards Bermuda, leaving hundreds of thousands of people. Doesn't it just say thousands of people without power in Puerto Rico? Sweltering heat enveloped the U.S. territory. People have been living there for a long time in the heat. I don't think they're going to have that much of a problem. There's ways to cool off, be safe, drink lots of water, stay in the shade. Cannot stress enough how important it is for every resident to use this time to prepare. We've seen in the past devastating effects of complacency, said NASA Security Michael Weeks. Ernesto was forecast to possibly reach Category 3 strength Friday and weaken as it approaches Bermuda. So that's going to drop 6 to 12 inches. Woo! No fun. Yeah, it already passed over Puerto Rico. Good stuff. And then, of course, now we have I hate whenever they cannot tell you the damn truth and in the news, because you don't know what is true and what is not. Like this, for example, it says diplomacy intensifies. I'm surprised they're not saying the fight intensifies, or I'm not sure if they keep saying diplomacy intensifies. They've changed the meaning of words so much that it can be very confusing, because is diplomacy actually intensifying between Israel and Palestine? I'm wondering, is the problem intensifying? Is the fighting intensifying? Let's see what kind of news that they tell us. International diplomacy to prevent the war from spreading. That's what it is. They don't want it spreading over into Iran and Iraq and all those wonderful things. So, it's not that diplomacy is intensifying between the two countries. The fighting is intensifying between these two countries, and the French and the English are a little worried because how it affects their bottom line, especially if Europe is not getting the fuel it needs from Russia. The gas pipeline, Russia, is being shut down because of the stuff going on with Ukraine, and they get that they're not getting that fuel, that means their gas prices are going to go up, which means that their inflation is going to increase, their economy is going to get worse. This is why they're all worried about it. I see. This really has nothing to do with Israel and Gaza. It's just now you've got Iran and Iraq that are wanting to get involved, and a lot of the Arab countries in that area. So for them, diplomacy has become important. The new push for the end of the war came as the death toll in Gaza climbed past 40,000. That's what's going to happen in a war. The fear remains high that Iran and Hezbollah militants in Lebanon would attack Israel in retaliation for their military leaders. Oh, it says militant leaders. It doesn't say military leaders. It says militant. Sorry, I misread that. I misunderstood. This is a dangerous moment for the let me say it in a proper thing. This is a dangerous moment for the Middle East. Yeah, Foreign Minister David Lammy. The risk of the situation is spiraling out of control. It's rising. Any Iranian attack would have devastating consequences for the region. Yeah. Well, this is the way that war goes, and it's devastating for England because that's where they're getting the oil from, because they're not able to get oil from Russia. So this is about money, about oil. It has nothing. They only care about the Middle East whenever it comes to oil. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Lammy and the French Foreign Minister Stéphane Segway were expected to hold a joint meeting with the Israeli Foreign Minister Michael Israel Katz and Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Derner. It's never too late for peace. We must at all costs avoid a regional war which have terrible consequences, said Sojourner. It's a scratch his head. Yeah. International mediators believe the best hope for calming tensions would be a deal between international mediators. Oh, yeah. You guys stop fighting so we can get our oil, please. Hamas, which didn't participate directly in Thursday's talks, accuses Israel of adding new demands to a previous proposal that had U.S. and international support, and to which Hamas agreed in principle. Didn't mean they agreed to it, just means they agreed in principle. Well, and then there were horrible negotiators because they never agreed to it. They just agreed to it in principle. This is going to go on for quite some time. Israel accuses Hamas of adding its own new demands. Yeah, both sides keep adding stuff to it. This is the problem that they've been having. The White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby, which is a moron, called the talks an important step. He said a lot of work remains given the complexity of agreement, and the negotiators were focusing on its implementation. This isn't working as they planned, and because they're horrible negotiators that are doing this. They're all wanting. It's all about money. All of this crap going on, it's all about money. All about money, who controls the oil, who does what, where. They want to control each other's lives, and this is just going to go on and on and on and on. And these diplomats are just creating more of a problem going into this. Both sides have agreed on principle. They haven't agreed on shit. They haven't, and this right here is whenever Biden goes again, that this plan that Biden announced in May 31st, then they never agreed, even in principle, on any of this shit. This is a lie that the news is telling you. There was no agreement. There was no agreement, even in principle. Israel has already come to the United States and told them exactly what was going on. That they were not going to let this go. They said this is just a ticking time bomb in the Middle East waiting to happen. That's what Israel said. They are not leaving this region. They're not going to stop until the terrorist organization is gone. They were doing just fine until they came in and slaughtered people at a music festival. That's what sparked all this crap off. Them coming in, the Hamas coming in and slaughtering and taking hostages. People have been beaten, abused, SA'd. And Israel said, no, this isn't going to happen. They let them know ahead of time, this is where we're going to be attacking. You might want to, because we know where your rocket launches are. We know where you're launching these rockets into Israel. We know where they're at. You have time to evacuate. If you don't evacuate, that's on you. Those 40,000 people that they've lost is because they have not been allowed to evacuate. They've given them ample opportunity to leave. This is the problem that you run into with a war, with people that don't want to fight by the rules. And it sucks, but this is all about money. Yeah, whenever they say a series of settler attacks since the outbreak of the war in the West Bank, 633 Palestinians being killed by Israeli fire, most by Israeli raids into cities and towns. Mm-hmm. Because they've told them to leave. Leave. You've got opportunity to leave. That's what they've been saying. That's what's been going on. And anything that this news story is telling us, I because it's coming from AP, I just fail to believe that they're even coming close to telling the truth. I don't believe that they want to tell you the truth. I mean, think about this. Matthew Perry, his death leads to indictment of 5, including doctors and dealers. Los Angeles, nearly 10 months after the death of Matthew Perry, the long simmering investigation into the ketamine that killed him came dramatically into public view, with the announcement of 5 people have been charged with having roles in the OD of Matthew Perry. Here are the key things to know about the case, including the 2 key figures who could be headed for trial and the possibility of the steepest of prison sentences. One more of the rest has been expected since investigators from 3 different agencies revealed in May that they've been conducting a joint probe into the now 54. Well, he's not 54 now. He is deceased. How Perry got a hold of such large amounts of ketamine. The actor had been among the growing number of patients using legal but off-label medical means to treat depression, or in other cases, chronic pain with powerful surgical anesthetic. Recent reports suggest indictments might be imminent, but few outside observers, if any, knew how wide-ranging the prosecution would be, reaching much further than previous cases. When Michael Jackson died in 2009 from a lethal dose of propofol, his doctor was charged with providing it. Rapper Mac Miller in 2017, 2 who prosecuted described as a dealer and a middleman, were convicted of providing fentanyl-laced oxycodone that helped kill him. But Kerry's case pulled in both with indictments against doctors and illegal distributors. Yeah, He was found in his hot tub October 28th, 2023. That's been over a year, almost a year. They knew what they were doing was risking a great danger, said Martin Estrada. And about the charges, prosecution was well underway even before the announcement. Two people, including the assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, and Perry's acquaintance, Eric Fleming, have pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute the drug. Mark Chavez has agreed to enter a guilty plea that leaves prosecutors free to pursue their two biggest targets, the doctor and the ketamine queen. An indictment unsealed Thursday alleges Perry turned to Los Angeles doctor Salvador Plasencia. When his regular doctors refused to give him more ketamine, prosecutors alleged Plasencia cashed in on Perry's desperation and addiction, getting him to pay $5,500 in cash for large amounts of the drug in the 2 months before his death. I wonder how much this moron will pay, Plasencia texted a co-defendant. Oh, God. According to his indictment, he pleaded to not guilty to 7 counts of distribution of ketamine in an appearance in federal court on Thursday afternoon. Wow. Plasencia's attorney, Stephen Stacks, geez, why do you have to have a name that sucks so bad? Said outside court that he was operating with what he thought were the best medical intentions, and his actions certainly didn't rise to the level of criminal misconduct. Whenever he's texting a co-defendant saying, I wonder how much this moron will pay, I wonder if he's talking about the moron. Ooh, prosecutors allege Jasveen Stanga, who they described as a drug dealer known to customers as the ketamine queen, provided the doses of the drug that actually killed Perry, injected into the actor by Iswamo with syringes supplied by Plasencia. Zheng also pleaded not guilty. Her attorney, Alexandra Kazarian. That name sounds familiar. Alexandra Kazarian derided the Queen moniker as made for media consumption during the hearing. The lawyer declined comment on the case outside court. Prosecutors say other doctor of the case, Chavez, helped Plasencia obtain the ketamine he gave to Perry, while Perry's acquaintance Fleming helped get ketamine from Shanghai to Perry. Chavez could up to 10 years in prison. It was Swama 15, Fleming up to 25. Multiple messages seeking comment from the attorneys for the 3 men were not returned. Wow. Yeah, so it looks like we've got 5 people that have been charged with this. Shizzy Wong Kenobi, you're my only hope. Sorry. Elvis passed away 47 years ago today while trying to push out Rick. Oh my God. What? Help you, Shizzy Wong Kenobi. You're my only hope. I don't know what happened. What did you do? What did you do, Jackbot? Good morning, Captain Curry. Good morning, good Friday. To see all of you folks. Is that true? Is that what happened today? I'll have to look into that. I think that's true. But that's how we have to go here, because we'll bring up the idiots today, because that's what happens. We get to talk about the fools. It is so crazy to me that we have to suffer these fools. That is correct. That's right. In August 16th, 1977, I remember the day that Elvis passed. Thank you very much for that. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, because I didn't really mark it down in my calendar. But yeah, on August 16th, 1977, Elvis Presley died at Graceland at the age of 42. 41 years later, in 2018, Aretha Franklin, known as Queen of Soul, died in Detroit at the age of 76. Wow. In 77, American forces won the Battle of Bennington in what was considered a turning point of the revolution. Oh, 1777. I was like, huh? And in 1812, British fell to Native American forces in the War of 1812. In 1861, Lincoln issued the Proclamation 86, which prohibited the states of the Union from engaging in commercial trade with states that were in rebellion, i.e., the Confederacy. In 1896, gold was discovered in Canada's Yukon Territory, sparking the Klondike fever that would draw tens of thousands into the region searching for fortune. 48, Babe Ruth died at 53. Oh, wow. 54, the first issue of Sports Illustrated was released. Sports Illustrated. 62, the Beatles fired the original drummer Pete Best, replacing him with Ringo Starr. And 78, James Earl Ray, convicted of the death of Martin Luther King Jr., told a Capitol Hill hearing he did not commit the crime, saying he'd been set up by a mysterious man called Raoul. In 87, people worldwide began 2-day celebrations of the harmonic convergence, which heralded what believed the start of a new, purer age of humankind. Oh, how'd that work out for you? 2014, Governor Ray J. Nixon declared a state of emergency, imposed a curfew on St. Louis suburb of Ferguson, where police and protesters repeatedly clashed. The week since Michael Brown was shot by a white police officer. In 2014, a state of emergency imposed a curfew in St. Louis. This day. In 2020, lightning sparked the August complex wildfire in California. Over 16,000 square miles, greater than the size of Rhode Island, would burn over the following 3 months. Jeff Aquarius. Hey, Toy, how you doing? Good to see you. Zach. Ballstorm. Morning. Oh my God. So, as I was saying before we started going of what happened this day in history. This day in history, AP told another fucking lie. No, yesterday was amazing to me that they're trying to gaslight people into believing that inflation has come down because it hasn't increased as they watched it increase. Because they were expecting, if I read the chart right, they were expecting a 3.8% increase in inflation, and it only went 2.9. Still too high. Inflation is still too high. What Camel Toe is zeroing in on are high food prices and housing prices in her campaign previews in an economic policy. So, in other words, she's saying that for the past 4 years they've been screwing it up. That they want you to let them screw it up another 4 years, because on day one, she's not going to change a single fucking thing. She's going to do the same thing she's been doing. Sorry, it's too early for the bad language. So no change in any of her policies, because she's had the opportunity over the past 3.5 years to get these kinds of things taken care of. Promising to push the federal ban on price gouging on grocery stores. Price gouging? Sweetheart, this is what happens whenever you have inflation that runs rampant. Whenever you cut the supply of fuel to the country, they have to charge extra because the amount it costs to get fuel costs more. You idiot. But you're going to accuse grocery store chains of price gouging. What happens whenever you start going after grocery stores? The grocery stores will say, we can't afford to pay our employees. We can't afford to keep our shelves stocked. We are shutting down. That is what they will do. And whenever the grocery stores start shutting down, that means that nobody's paying for that food to go anywhere. That means that food sits there and rots. When that food sits there and rots, people can't get to it. They start going hungry, and then you're going to have even worse of a situation. If you don't know where this shit is going, Pay attention to all of the other fucking countries that this has happened to. Okay? Pay attention to what's going on in Venezuela. Look at what happens in Cuba, how people cannot get food. And whenever that happens, you thought the Great Dust Bowl was a farce. This is what happens. People can't get food, things go awry, and nobody will plant any food, because why would I plant crops that I can't sell and I can't eat and I can't use? I can't sell them on a side of the road because the government comes in and tells me, well, this is not FDA approved. You want to see how fast we go downhill? Go ahead. Start accusing grocery stores of price gouging. Year-over-year inflation has reached its lowest level in more than 3 years. No, it hasn't. Because food prices are 21% above where they were 3 years ago. And they're even higher than they were 4 years ago. And of course, they're saying Republican president nominee Donald Trump has pointed to inflation as a key failing of the Biden administration, because it is. You brought more people across the border, more mouths to feed, and less ways of getting it to them. The cost of housing, there's another problem. Why do you think the cost of housing is going up? Jesus Christ, these people are stupid. Possum pie is yummy. Have you ever tried anteater casserole? Ooh, so delicious. Thought when food sits and rots that they gave it to the turtle purgatory. Well, pretty much. The cost of housing is another major driver of inflation, and Harris plans to use federal resources, taxpayer money, going to use taxpayer money to do what? Construct tiny houses. That's what they're going to use that for. $3 million. And it's only going to help out California. Oh, they'll help out a little bit in North Carolina. That's probably why they're stumping in North Carolina, is because they have another place, if I'm not mistaken, it's like Raleigh or some crap like that. Durham or some crap. Fuck if I know. Yeah. They're going to pass legislation Do they not remember 2008? Has our politicians forgotten what happened in 2008? It appears that they have failed to recognize an issue here. They're going to pass legislation to slow rent increases, which what will happen is people that own homes can't make their ends meet. They're not going to be allowed to charge more for rent, which means their nest egg of continuing to own a home would be this is where it gets worse and worse, because if they're saying, no, you're going to have to rent to these people for this amount, your price fixing that's being set by the government, and at some point that house becomes worth more as kindling. At some point that house will become worth more as kindling. And where do you think that puts the people that were living there? Jeez Louise, these people are idiots. And they want to provide a $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. Okay. If you don't have decent homes, that are worth that amount of money, a $25,000 down payment, do you know what that gets you? $25,000 down payment. It gets you a very, very tiny house. That's not even that is a 10% of a $250,000 home. That means your home, to make it worthwhile for you, that means you have to find a $150,000 home. That's a 20% down payment. $125,000 home. Tell me where you're going to find a $125,000 home. I'm sure that you could find one, but you're going to have to do a lot of work on it. And then you also have to be able to pay for that house through your wages, how much money you make. So you can find one of those outside of a city. You're not going to find one of those in a city. And then you have to commute back and forth, which if you're going to have transportation. But a lot of people that live in cities don't own cars. Believe it or not, they don't. Because it costs too much to keep it parked. FEMA trailers, yeah. Geez, these people are stupid. Harris is drawing closer to Joe Biden's legislative and economic record, casting her initiative as an extension of the work their administration has done over the last 3.5 years. Yes, they've tanked the economy. The Harris housing plans includes establishing tax credit for home builders who construct starter homes for first-time home buyers. Tiny homes. The pods. They're building freaking pods for you. And doubling a $20 billion Biden administration innovation fund for housing construction. Do you think these homes are going to be built solid? Do you think these homes are going to be built solid? Do you think they're going to be built strong? Do you think they're going to be built to last longer than a couple of years? Well, it's a starter home. Let me tell you how my wife and I's starter home started. It was 14 years that we had to live in that house. You know why it was 14 years instead of the 5 that we planned? Because they tanked the housing market. Because we were in over our head and what our house was worth as to what it cost. And you know who made out like bandits during that housing market crash? BlackRock. They made out like bandits because they could come in and they could buy up all of that property for dirt cheap. I watched companies go under, home builders go under, because here they are being promised all this work, great returns on if we just build these houses. And what happened? There was buildings left unbuilt. There were whole subdivisions that were just left with sewer lines run out of the ground. Entire apartment complexes were shut down, shuttered, destroyed, turned into parking lots. Yeah, that's what happened to your housing. And it never recovered. People say, oh, the housing market recovered. No, it didn't. It just switched. People got smart and said, okay, well, if you want to buy into this house, we're not giving you any more subprime loans. That's all they're wanting to do is just create more subprime loans. And they want to blame the banks, just like they want to blame grocery stores for the cost of groceries, instead of taking responsibility for how they screwed things up. Yeah, but somehow this is Trump's fault. Yeah, there we go. The beauty of it. Earlier Thursday, Biden and Harris celebrated their efforts. Yeah, I bet they did. To cut prescription drug prices that they raised. They increased the cost of drug prices, and now they're going to try to celebrate a win. Let's see, we raised it by $100 billion over the course of your lifetime, but you know what? We cut out $1 billion. How's that? We cut out $1 billion of what drug companies can charge you. You know, special. They announced a drug price negotiation will knock hundreds of dollars, in some case thousands, off of list prices of 10 of Medicare's most popular and costliest drugs. These idiots. The program was created to last through 2022 healthcare and climate-focused Inflation Reduction Act. And in that Inflation Reduction Act, you know what they did? They threw a whole bunch of crap in there that affects every single American, especially those that are making tips. So they create a policy that screws you even harder than you've been screwed before, and then they back off a little bit on it. It is a bunch of fake numbers. And they want to say the tie-breaking vote of Kamala made that possible. Yeah, the tie-breaking vote of Kamala made it possible for the government to screw low-wage earners, middle class, and to give all of them big raises. That's what the Inflation Reduction Act did. Gave every single one of those people big raises. Now, of course, Biden says he undertook his own efforts to contain rising food prices, except what would have lowered food prices. He created a competition council that tried to reduce costs by increasing competition within the meat industry. You know what they did? They started making lab-grown meat. They started making Beyond Beef burgers. They started paying to have alternative sources to good old cows, good old chickens, good old lamb, duck, squirrel, whatever the hell kind of meat you could possibly, that grows in the damn wild, to have it lab grown, which ended up costing the taxpayers millions of dollars and did nothing except line the pockets of people in the industries. That's what his efforts to contain rising food prices equated to. Turducken. Hell, I'd much rather have a damn turducken than the shit that they've been producing. And that's all it is. Just absolute garbage. Oh, Jesus. Asked Thursday if he was concerned Harris would seek to distance herself from his record. No, she's not going to do that. No, she's going to double down on it. Oh, so your thought about fracking, where she's been totally against that. That's staying the same. Americans are more likely to. I don't care what your poll says. What I can see is that I think the rest of America is seeing how bad your policies have been. Trump speaking Thursday said at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. So why is it that Trump that they make him sound like, oh, he's just this rich money mogul person, because he's worked his ass off to get there, and he doesn't hide his money. He doesn't lie to people and say that he's for the working class, like Biden and Harris do. Do you think that Joe Biden has worked a day in his life? You think he's actually had to go out there and figure out what his cost of living was going to be from day to day? Do you think he's had to sit there and go, honey, I'm sorry, we can't go on vacation this year because, you know, we've got to get this repair done to the house, and I'm not sure you're going to have to hold on to the car for another at least 5 years. I know that it really sucks. We were hoping to take a vacation and get some work done on our car, but we just can't do it this year. You know, I know the kids are going to just have to wear hand-me-downs this year. Has he ever had to sit there and look at his grocery bill and go, crap, you know, it's you know, this time last year, hell, this time 4 years ago, I only had to pay, you know, $120, you know, to feed our family of four. You know, it was only $120, and this week it's going to be $500 for me to feed my family. That's like part of your paycheck, honey. Yeah, we can't do anything that you wanted to do, and I hope that the roof holds out for at least another 2 years, because if it doesn't, then we're really screwed. And we can't move because we're in over our head, because we can't find anything that isn't a house that's about 1/3 the size of what we currently live in. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make our mortgage payment this month. I don't think Joe Biden or Kamala Harris have ever had to deal with that. Yet they try to play people like that's how they live. That's how they've survived, which they haven't. Donald Trump has made no qualms about it. He just says, "No, I'm a builder. I used to build. I used to be out there on the construction sites. I've talked with these people. I get to know them. I understand their stories. I understand what these people are about because I've lived with them. I've worked with them. And yeah, I've made myself very wealthy over the years. I'm making no qualms about it." He doesn't try to be somebody he's not. So they can kiss my bank repos. Bank repos on the houses, resales it, money, it's a win. Yep. They don't care. Obama brought electric trucks to Kansas City, Smith Electric. They took government money, then went bankrupt. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Harris in her housing plan also wants to crack down on data sharing and price setting tools that landlords to set rents. Oh, 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 that's interesting. So you know what they want to do? They want to hide the truth from you. Right here. Harris in her housing plan, she wants to crack down on data sharing. You know what that means? You know what that means? She wants to make sure that the market doesn't dictate what you rent a house for. They also want to eliminate price setting tools that landlords use to set rents. Other words, if a landlord says, "Listen, this is how much it costs for me to rent this out. I cannot charge less than, say, $3,000 a month." Just throwing it out there, because my mortgage is going to be this for the house. I'm going to have to front all of the money for a down payment, which means I need to turn some sort of profit. So I need to base it, or else I've got to pay for insurance on it. Then I've got to pay for renter's insurance, make sure that if anything happens to the house. Plus, I'm going to have to set a price for what it's going to be in case they come in and their kids, you know, wipe crap all over the walls. To get that all cleaned up. Okay, so my charging rent is going to have to be about $4,000 a month for this particular area, because that's what it costs for me to buy in. She wants to eliminate a landlord to be able to do that. They want to strap their hands, and get rid of tax incentive that has led investment firms, not just they're saying investment firms. You realize these investment firms are part of what your 401k is. Okay. So you got your 401k in an investment firm. You may not know that you do, but you got your money in an investment firm. Part of those little sheets that you get for your 401k that you don't really pay attention to, those are owned by investment firm. And they go and they purchase houses and they rent them out. Sometimes it's apartment complexes. Sometimes it's just businesses that do this. That's how they get their investments over year over year over year. And if you're worried about them buying the country's housing stock, then stop screwing the economy. You keep screwing people. You want to go after people like BlackRock, then go after people like BlackRock. And don't fucking try to hide and go after the small mom and pops, because that's what they're trying to do. They're going after the small mom and pops. Whenever they say that they're going after investment firms, no, they're not. They're coming for your 401ks. They're coming for you. Say Zach owns a house right up the road from me, and I own the house, next door to it. They don't want to allow me and Zach to communicate what the value of the house is and what we're selling it, what we're renting it for. That's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to say, oh no, Zach, you have to charge what you want to charge, instead of letting the market work on it. What a bunch of shit this is. God, I hate these freaking people so much. It's just aggravating to all get out.
You stick in your two fingers like this, and then place your thumb on top like so, that will increase the pleasure.
Hello, Max Murrah.
Hey man, how are you? Oh, does this work?
I'm better. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. I just forgot I didn't have my mic here.
What? Good, man.
What are you talking about now?
Just these bullshit stories that they have decided to tell us again. Like talking about meat prices. Beef prices increased 33% in the 4.5. No, it's increased in the past 3.5 years, almost 4 years since chicken prices have jumped 31%. Pork is 21% more expensive. And they keep wanting to say, well, it's because of COVID. Like, no, this has been Biden's administration that has caused this. Grocery prices on average have risen 1.1% in 12 months. But that's 12 months. For 3 years, it's increased like what, 115%?
Mm-hmm. Hey, am I getting an echo, or is it? Are you getting feedback from this at all?
You get a little bit of an echo.
Okay, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to take out my. I have a speaker, and I don't think it's very good. So.
Gotcha. Putting
in
the headphones.
Yeah, I'm just going to put in a earphone set.
You have to change what's listening also in your settings.
Yeah, I just go into audio here and I click into USB audio. Okay, I think it works now. Does it?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, good. Oh.
And yeah, can you hear it?
Yeah, this is better. Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's better.
Good.
So you have rents, apartment rents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I remember, like in 2020, 2021, the Berlin, actually, they voted, basically what they voted to do, was to take about 250,000 housing units off the market and privatize it. And, so that's a very sort of a Marxist approach to, rent, right?
Yes.
I don't know how. I mean, he uses his own terms, differential rent and absolute rent, but basically, he kind of argues like this is rent is a commodity, and then therefore the landlord is basically a parasite. Is not in and
Oh yeah.
and so this is one of his anyways. So this whole thing with the rent business is this is due to a monopoly, and therefore
that's
where
that's part of her housing plan. She wants to crack down on data sharing and price setting tools that landlords use to set rents.
Oh, good. Marxism is number one.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
America, get with the program. So many good programs coming from Marxism.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, they bring up this right here. She intends to contrast her plan with Trump, who was sued by the Justice Department for housing discrimination 5 decades ago. And how did that turn out? Do you remember how that turned out?
No.
Trump that was sued by the Justice Department. Do you know how that turned out 5 decades ago? 5 decades ago, 50 years ago. How did that turn out? Trump won.
She's well, I think this is her, but initially when she was caught when she was caught struggling with the definition of inflation, and she was like looking down on her notes and doing her thing, like as I talk about it and what is it, prices go up. I think this is she went back and she got her notes, and this is even more convoluted. Here's a question. It's weird. I don't know, because when it came, you see things on Twitter and you see clips, and of course clips can be taken out of context, but the ones I saw, and this is over time, and it didn't look like it was altered, and it didn't look like it was AI, but she really sounded drunk, like under the influence.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so
all I have to say,
is she under the influence? Does she have a drinking problem? Because it even looked recent, like somebody maybe she was getting Dutch courage before a rally.
You know what we need? We need more of this right here. You know who this is?
No.
This is a representative in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a representative in Florida. Yeah. And everybody's losing their mind over this because they're just like, how dare she? Yep.
Well, I was a little bit nervous answering the question. Do you know who this is? And nope. Because I wasn't sure. Is she of age? I don't want to.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to start saying like,
that's Representative.
That's my daughter.
No, that's Representative Anna Paulina Luna, which is representative in Florida.
But so is she Republican, Independent, or Democrat?
Yeah, Republican.
Okay,
Republican.
Oh, so.
And then
I hope
in the meantime,
it's kind of like a Democratic. It's like a Republican AOC, I guess. I mean,
Oh no! Even Boebert is starting to show off all their bikini shots and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you guys want to keep talking crap about how all of the Republican women are ugly. We'll show you. We'll show you how fit we are, bastards.
I don't think Republican women have a problem. They may be older. I mean, it's the ones that
Black vote ain't for sale no more. Black vote ain't for sale. We bartering on business. We standing on business. Bring us some tangibles or get out of my face. Ricky Smiley, I love you. But crying on the radio for Kamala Harris, my brother, that's an all-time low. Don't do that again, Ricky Smiley. Don't you get on your radio show and cry for Kamala. Don't you do that, my brother.
Yeah, this is they're starting to speak out how they're
I see.
being
Yeah.
how they are being paid to
Mhm.
simp for Kamala. She's going after black influencers. She's going
Mhm.
after influencers. You saw that they just had a influencer party at the White House.
Oh, they did. I didn't see that because I wasn't
Yeah,
invited.
that was Joe Biden brought in a whole bunch of influencers and then asked them if they had a job for him.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he's
Yeah.
not going to be there after this year. You know,
Mm.
making a joke of it, but they don't. But what people fail to recognize is in the midst of that joke, it's he's those were influencers. They were paid to be there. These are paid influencers to simp for Joe Biden, to simp for Kamala Harris.
Wow.
Because they
Yeah.
don't have anything, because they don't have people that actually will stand up for them. They have to pay them to stand up.
Geez, that's kind of desperate.
Happy Friday. Hey, Risa.
Democratic women. Oh yeah, she's been described as one of the stupidest senators. Is and she's thick, and yet okay, she's not white, so then people will kind of go, oh well, no, and she was born in Fukushima. Is Mazie Hirono from Hawaii? She
Okay.
is
Yeah.
seriously stupid. And when I look at these, and more, I look at these. We always look at. We tend to, when we qualify somebody, someone's alma mater. Say
Mhm.
J.D. Vance. I think he went to Ohio University, Ohio State, but he did go to Yale Law School, right? That's where him
Yeah.
and his wife.
Yeah.
And then we know about the Clintons. Hillary and Bill went to Georgetown School of Foreign Service, undergraduate. They both went to Yale Law.
Mhm.
But sometimes we forget. We go, oh God, that guy's so fucking stupid. But hey, there's plenty of stupid guys who went to Harvard Law. Hunter Biden, he went to Georgetown School of Foreign Service, and he went to Yale Law. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know where he learned to do his coke, but Mazie
Probably there.
Hirono went to, I think she's Georgetown Law. And so now I just can't give any, whenever
No.
whenever she puts, whenever they say, oh, okay, hey, you went to Georgetown, you went to Yale Law, whatever, I can give it equal number of people who are just morons. And yeah. And you get this one thing you can be sure of. Like, I had a friend who had to appeal a security clearance decision, and he got all this great advice, like really well-intended advice. These are from former ambassadors saying, okay, this law firm, I know the partner there. And when I looked at it, I said, hey, here's one thing I'm really sure of. Like, a partner will bill, I don't know, in 8-minute increments, or nowadays maybe even 6 or 8-minute increments, will bill $900, $1,000 easy, right? But they're gonna dole out the work to an associate, so that's actually $300, $400, $500 an hour. But the way it works is, especially in offices where partners want to justify the keep, they just walk over. I once used a term. I said it's like somebody coming over and freaking licking your sushi, like lick the sushi and put it back on the tray. and so they go like, "How you doing, shit? Yeah, okay." Lick the sushi, put it there. He's billing, and then your invoicing that's how you get your. And they'll say, no, I have to. It's my job as a partner to oversee the work of associates. And
well,
so
and this is part of this is true, and I'll because my wife worked in a law firm, I can attest the way some of this works is a lot of times you have to hit a certain amount of billable hours, even associates do. Okay, now the law firm that my wife worked at, they would her like one of the managing partners for her section. What they would do is they would go through and they would see what your hours were, and sometimes they may cut hours out of there and give themselves those hours because
Yeah.
they were basically they were handling every single bit of it, but they're still charging those associate rates. So a lot of times that's what they'll do. They'll say, you know, we're still going to charge it, but you weren't handling this portion of it. You know, just because you were involved, you can't bill for it. They'll do all kinds of shady stuff, and that just comes down to bonuses. I mean, it's
Yeah,
stupid and
I
screwed up.
know
That's
I know a
what
guy.
my
He
wife,
missed his
because whenever
bonus
she
by
started her
14
own
hours.
firm, oh yeah, they did that to my wife. She came back and because she had access to it. Whenever she saw that they cut her hours, she was just like, yeah, that no, you're putting those hours back in there. Because
No,
I was there
in
in
this
court for this
case,
one, and nobody else touched this whatsoever. I have
Yeah.
been the only one working on this case. There was no managing partner handling this. You're putting those hours back in there because she kept track of every bit of her hours. So whenever they tried to cut her bonuses, she was like, yeah, that ain't going to fly. And whenever my wife left that law firm, she was able to charge less per hour than she was whenever she was at that law firm to still turn in a profit.
That the one guy I knew, he was at Morrison and Forster, and he missed, I think it was 14 hours, maybe even less than that. And I was, but he actually didn't care. He wasn't hungry enough, because you also know that you, as an associate, you know, it's not like you suddenly were surprised by, oh, I'm 14 hours short. He could have easily made it up in the last quarter, but he just didn't want to play that game. And I think it hurt him. But at the same time, is he was also at a firm, that firm in Tokyo. The partners need to justify their expat lifestyle and their presence in Tokyo. There's too many. They all want to live here because it's great with the benefits. So that's why they do a lot of licking of the sushi, and they walk over and go, "What you know, Joe Biden, sniffy, sniffy, licky, licky." And
Dawn's in Hawaii. She says Max, her nickname here by the locals is Crazy Maisie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I think Crazy Maisie is a little bit of disservice because it allows for a little bit of dilution of responsibility. I think she is really thick. She is stupid, and and it's, you know.
Good morning, Mayor Dan. Lord Almighty, how you doing? It is good to see you. Yeah, he's probably come in here to say, hey. he's awesome. Mayor Dan is pretty awesome. Yeah, Mayor Dan is in Ohio. And drives a hearse, and just, I mean, he came over from What the Hales.
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah.
Good.
It's
good people.
So where were you looking at? Are you still? We're still looking at what? You know what? I didn't revisit when Berlin confiscated. They expropriated like 250,000, like 250,000 housing units in Berlin. They expropriated it. You know, and it was really based on this Marxist principle. You know, 1844. You know, the whole definition of rent and landlords and absolute. And it's really weird that, and maybe that's a credit to really dedicated neo-Marxists and socialists, like my parents, for example. They're in the system, and so now you could now have somebody coming out of a presidential candidate, and it really doesn't register. People aren't going and saying, "Whoa," they're going, maybe we'll have a good. Maybe you got to give it a chance, you know. And wow,
every single time.
That's an achievement. You do that over decades, you know. People have, it's kind of reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, kind of reasonable. I don't think so. I don't think it's reasonable at all.
You said unbought, unbossed, intentional.
Carolyn, what I think people need to understand, Essence Festival is the largest gathering of blacks in the country annually. And
more than just blacks.
And more than just blacks come. I mean, everybody comes. You can't get You can't check in the year without coming to Essence. I've been to every one of them. You put me on the stage, Alfonso. And not only did Kamala Harris do the chief to chief, you put on stage the night the hip hoppers were there to make sure young people understood. Talk about the cultural impact, because I think what you've done, your leadership, Rich Lou Dennis, who saved us all, a great titan, you have become a cultural phenomenon to expand Essence reach. Why is it important that it is in Essence? That's why we honored you this year. Why is it important that it's in Essence?
Yeah, and I appreciate that's not just the community, but the world.
Yeah, this is screwy. I'll probably get in trouble for copyright or something.
We've seen that in multiple places. So in this era of Essence and having her take the stage, being at the Essence Festival, the largest festival in the country by per day attendance, not just Black, right? We gave an opportunity to not just create cultural generations together, but we also gave an understanding of the collective power that those before us earned on our behalf, that they are obligated to activate, so we continue to be represented in the right way and with the clout that we have in all parts of the business. It was wonderful for her to come out and say hi on the Cash Money Millionaire celebration night.
At the Superdome.
At the Superdome on a Friday night. But it's also wonderful that we put her in other places like the Chief to Chief at Global Black Economic Forum up here is Alfonso David. But at the end of the day, here's what's true about Essence. It has always been what told us what our power is in the world, and it always will. What everybody needs to understand is any engagement that doesn't involve the Black woman is incomplete, because we are the CEOs of home, culture, and community.
Yeah,
that's Al Sharpton. Did you remember when he was fat? He had all that hair. He had the mustache. Yeah, he doesn't look like the same guy. Yeah.
No, but hey, they did announce last week that the monkeypox.
Oh yeah.
Today, the emergency committee met and advised me that, in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern.
Tell me how monkeypox is of international concern when it's 90%, 96% of all cases are coming out of the Congo.
Yeah.
How is it of international concern?
Don't you know that 1980s song? We are the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. And yes, Don, I am feeling better today. And don't worry, I will never have to worry about getting the monkeypox. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I'll never, and they don't want you calling it monkeypox.
Of the monkeypox cases in the States, how many of them are children under 12?
That's a lot of them in the Congo. A lot of them are children.
No, I'm talking California. Monkeypox cases, the few that are in the United States of America, do you have a significant percentage chunk that are children?
Yes.
And this was also a few years ago, and and you go, wait, this is a male couple, gay couple, and it was a 10-year-old. This is a few years ago, and you're like, no, you can't say anything. You can't be.
If you're wondering what the monkeypox is, just see my stream from yesterday, where I go into about monkeypox. Because it is something that has been happening from in the Congo. It was carried by monkeys, and then it got passed to human beings through contact. But they say the only way that this is transmitted is sexual contact. Didn't we have this issue like back during the HIV AIDS pandemic? Is they were getting AIDS from monkeys, and didn't Fauci say that the only way to stop that was by wearing a mask? Yes, that is true. He did say that in the 80s. You had to wear a mask to protect you from getting the AIDS virus.
That was
and that's
not AIDS.
AIDS
was one. It was weird because AIDS was one of HIV. AIDS was one of the things where, I think what it did when it came out in the 80s, it killed this kind of cultural thing. There was a, if, and people will go, oh no, they'll like, if they're old enough, they'll just say, no way, man. But it was almost like those things, terms like androgyny and even
Mhm.
bisexuality was cool. Like my son really likes David Bowie, but it's really clear that there are, in his, I don't know if you would define it as his Aladdin Sane period experimentation photos of him in bed. I don't know if it's staged with Mick Jagger. It was
Mhm.
like, hey, and then you get things like Annie Lennox and Eurythmics and the whole androgynous look. You know what killed that? It was AIDS. it
Yeah.
it was AIDS killed it. I mean, that was really clear. It's kind of like maybe herpes, HSV2, genital herpes may have killed the sexual revolution of the 70s, So,
Mhm.
yeah, or put a big damper on it. But then there is almost this weird thing that you were getting an increase, and there is heterosexual transmission and such. But it was really weird. It was almost, um, it was a bit contrived, and they're going, it's let's just like they're saying now. This is why I'm just, it's everybody's concern, and it's like look, just don't f other men up the ass, and you weren't getting, it wasn't a LGBT thing. Lesbians weren't giving it to each other, you know. Um, there was no such thing as let's take a ricadism, aggressive carpet munching, you know. Uh, there wasn't that, and so we get one of the things though is this is, I think, maybe one of the decisions they had to make when they were doing STD prevention, the PSAs. PSAs are, I don't know, depends if you're in military. Like I hear on Eagle 810 all the time. It's to the point it's funny. You can make fun of the PSAs. I hear that they were geared for a fourth grade education or something like, remember, don't eat yellow snow. This is brought to you by Eagle 810 and the Air Force. And well, you had with viruses are forever. You had with AIDS anyways, the condom was a pretty effective prevention tool.
Mhm.
But you have to sell it to Biff. He's in the fraternity of a whatever, his IQ is just like 94 points. And so you tell Biff, hey, Biff, you wear a condom, it's gonna help a lot for
Well,
AIDS. And
and
but then
and
if you
because
clarify it and you go, actually, it's not probably going to help you with a lot of other things, including like anywhere where there's asymptomatic transmission, there is skin to skin contact,
Mhm.
HSV2, genital herpes, or chlamydia. And then
So
Biff is going to react. Biff is going to say, well, if that's the case, I don't like him anyways. I'm not going to use him. So you have to just keep it real simple for Biff and tell him,
yes.
use a condom, use a condom. So what do I get? I get
Well,
a guy, he's going like, and I explained to him, hey, you kind of don't want to, you want to still be careful because uh, a lot of the transmission, whether bacterial or whatever, a lot of them are going to be contact points of mucous membranes. If I want to get gross, that's why you don't see it just right in your private part, maybe in your bunghole, maybe in your mouth, in your nose, in your eye, and in the throat. And that's where you're getting HPV viruses. Some
right.
of them, many of them cause cancer. And then you're going, hey, wait a minute. That's maybe why we're getting this increase in certain head cancers and esophageal cancer. From
Let me do two things here for you. Blood
yeah.
transfusions became a concern back then. Yes, they became a
Oh yeah.
concern, and the only time that they became a concern is whenever I believe it was a congressman or a senator. His daughter had to go in for a blood transfusion, and she ended up contracting AIDS. That's whenever they were just like, "Oh crap, we need to do something about washing the blood and figuring out like actually testing the blood that's coming in." They had to throw away like hundreds of thousands of gallons of blood donations, and they started testing like on mass people that were doing blood transfusions.
Mhm.
It became very scary. The second thing is my wife and I were watching something. I don't even remember where it was. They had some commercial that came on. Tell me why they're telling children to get vaccinated for the
HPV.
HVP. Yeah,
HPV.
STDs. Why are children being vaccinated? That right there is concerning to me.
Mhm.
That they're saying that they need to start getting vaccinated at this very young age. What are people doing to children that they would need to get a vaccination for something like this?
Yeah, they were. I think they were doing it at like first you heard like 13, 14, but then girls as young as
No,
11 and 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 8 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah, and boy is saying that vax is crap. Here you go.
Yeah.
You want to see what the effects of monkeypox are? Here you go.
Just going like star crazy. That's what I'm really worried about. I hate that I can't shave. Growing a beard, and I hate it. But yeah, these are all the spots. I'm going to show you a little bit more. It's all over.
That's okay, girlfriend.
So all
You
over
can
my
be an
back, too.
influencer for Harris.
So just going like star crazy.
Yeah, that right there.
He can be
That's-
he can be an influencer for Harris. Don't worry. You're in the demographic.
Yeah, this is the so this right here is somebody that hadn't seen this right here.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And
That
okay,
right
that
there.
was, I'll give you the date. I think that was August 16th or 17th, 2017, right? And to the right of him is Elaine Chao. And so those comments were delivered on August, damn it, was it a Thursday? August, I don't have a calendar in front of me. August 17th, I think, was a Thursday in 2017. And so that was delivered by President Trump. You know why I know this? I know this because what's it, August 17th? He's currently a U.S. Senator for Tennessee. Haggerty, Bill Haggerty, was flying in with his family on the first official day as United States ambassador to Japan. And he was landing at Narita Airport. And what usually happens is you have a special press room, and you just common courtesy. You're just going to allow the press to ask a few questions to the new ambassador. And the woman, I remember, was this bitch from Agence Presse, and you knew right away apparently that she was hostile. She was, no, I will not tell you, And so the question, it was about several hours. So I got a call and I said, "What do you think she's going to ask?" So I was actually, I brainstormed that. I did that question. And actually, this is how I thought. What's the most obnoxious, stupid, fucking question I could think of? And guess you wouldn't believe it. Not to be overly facetious or to get as a punchline or something like that, because you had to be accurate, right? And it turned out I was accurate. It was accurate. and remember, she had this reporter had one question. She's going to ask this to the new ambassador, right? And right away, like her chin juts out like this, and her question to then Ambassador Haggerty was, "What do you think of what happened at Charlottesville?" At Charlottesville. I said that's the question she's going to ask, and of course, hey, it's he gave its answer, but they really thought, oh, we're gonna get him because it's a terrible thing. Yeah.
Oh
Hate
no,
speech.
but when Jar says wrote an essay on this in college in Charlottesville speech and got suspended just for finishing
Really?
the sentence, and it was overturned, of course. But
Oh.
yeah, that right there is exactly what people were saying. Is just like, oh, he was saying there were fine people on both sides, and he goes, and he continues on and says, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists. Those are bad. He says, I'm talking about the people that were there protesting, having their statues torn down and the name of the park changed. And they clipped that whole section out of it, the end of that section, to make it sound like he said, oh, they're good people on both sides. Yeah.
No, I mean, he had, we have another friend, and he was, I'll let you
This
go.
guy's going to tell you about monkeypox.
Oh, right.
Right now, I'm on my way to the hospital. I got to, get a couple tests done. Monkeypox shit is real, y'all. It's real. It's real. That's all I can say. Yeah. Yo, take care of yourselves. You hear me?
This
shit is no joke. It's no joke.
Look what he's wearing. He's wearing a Prince Freemason necklace, I think.
I saw that too.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Freemason. Remember, not the regular Freemason, but I was told, no, Max, African Americans, it's not that we don't let them in. They just want to be with their own kind, with their own club. They have their own club. They have the Prince Freemasons. Oh, okay. So I used to go sometimes in the 4th of Independence Day events here in Japan. Sometimes you get government and you have military, and so the guys from the Navy and that are part of representing the Prince Freemasons, they have their own barbecue table and everything. But it was all good. They were all brothers, and it's better than some other thing with freaking hot dogs or whatever. My friends say, no, don't go there. That's whitey Q. Real barbecue has a bone in it.
Well, it depends. I mean,
yeah,
it depends on what you're after. I mean, if you want pulled pork as far as barbecue, it's not going to have a bone in it. Yeah. But if you do brisket, then it's not going to have a bone in it.
Yeah, those are exceptions. Yeah, I didn't.
Or you can have shrimp. Yeah, you can have shrimp. Yeah. That has an exoskeleton. I guess that would be considered to have a bone in it, but
but it's not kosher. You can't have that if you're part of the one of those. What are they? I don't know.
This thing keeps showing up in my feed, and I just have to laugh every time I see it. I'm sorry. I can't play it because of the music, but this is like some sorority.
Oh, okay. I approve.
All right. I don't know why it keeps showing up in my feed, but it just keeps showing up in my feed. I'm like, okay. I don't know why. Like I could care less, but it just keeps showing up in my feed.
I have no complaints because you're always watching to the end. Yeah. Yeah. That's
well, and here's another section of it.
That's what I remember.
See, like I said, this just keeps showing up.
Oh. A's Alpha Zeta? Okay. This is good. Yeah, they're all exercising. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the shorts and all that. It just the jean shorts, I guess. Okay. Shorts, I guess is what they call them.
They're not my daughters, and I'm not a Puerto Rican father. It's like, you're not going to date until you're 40 and married. So, hey, okay. More easygoing. Yeah. I think things change if you have a daughter. I never had any daughters that I know of, anyways. But you know, I'd be a terrible
You,
father. If I had a daughter, I'd be like, I'd be that crazy Puerto Rican father. You know, you're not gonna date until you're 30 something, 40, and married, and you're gonna have an armed escort. You know.
no, no,
No, no,
no.
I don't know. Yeah, it probably changed, but it is. I mean, my friend Joe has a daughter. She's boy, I think she's like 8 months old already. Yeah. Anyway, so I babysat for her before and stuff like that. But yeah, it probably it changes you. You know, I see through Joe. You know, and he's going to be a good dad. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good lord. What the hell?
Well,
Oh, I just saw something that was really creepy. Like they've got some really, really weird stuff on the YouTubes. I just keep seeing these things come through my feed, which are not even close to
Mhm.
not even close to
Okay.
bad.
Oh, wait, some people are annoying me. They're on the Discord. They're posting photos of crabs, and they know that I got bit by one last year. That's why.
I know you have to be careful of the crabs.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch
You
out for
have to
crabs.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be very careful. Well,
Yeah.
you know how to get rid of crabs, right?
Well, I don't know.
You
I've never had them, but
you shave off one half
yeah.
and then light the other half on
Yeah.
fire and beat them with a hammer as they run across.
Yeah. I would not. What kind of crabs? Yeah, I know. I don't know. Did I ever get close to camel toe? No, not ever. I don't think I've ever. I met Bill Clinton before. Um,
Oh, cool.
that was a long time ago, man. That was like grad school.
Yeah.
When
Well,
he was president, I and
well,
that's about it. Yeah.
trying to think when it was that everybody started going off about Bill Clinton, or not Bill Clinton, but Obama. Oh, you're not going to vote for him because he's black. I was just like, is he? Because I had no idea. I had just heard his
Oh
policies.
no,
I heard his
I
policies.
remember. I can dig up the email. It was a friend of mine, and it was when Obama was a congressman, and he was like ranting back then, and I thought that was pretty. I should have saved that. I think I saved the email somewhere because I later showed it to him. I said, "Man, you were kind of on the money." And you know,
Not sure. I guarantee you did not have monkeypox a couple of weeks ago. I guarantee you. It's just,
yeah,
it is when what they're saying that the vaccination for the monkeypox is the same vaccination that they're using for chickenpox and smallpox,
oh,
because that's basically what it is.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oof.
Okay, sir. We understand that some people are hesitant to take the vaccine, so if you step aside, we'll give you the next best preventative. And what they're going to do, please put out your hand, and they're going to put a handful of condoms,
Well, I mean,
which would be and Fauci would come out and say, "Hey, look at this! I have 2 condoms on."
so crazy.
It's an STD. If it's an STD, it's an STD.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard so many, and this is the problem with our news cycle, is where they tell you one thing, then they come back a couple weeks later and they tell you something different. They come back a couple weeks later and they tell you something different. And this has been my problem with a lot of the news. Oh, dude, who did this? Who did this? Oh,
What are you looking at?
take a look at the picture.
A booty judge?
Yeah, they're asking, is that monkeypox?
No, but so they're,
Those look like
you know,
skin tags.
I no wait. You know what they could be? If you go back, I would have said that they were first. I thought, oh, is it HSV2? They look like HPV, one form of warts,
HPV.
venereal warts. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
warts, which could be cancers or not.
Yeah.
But they're this is what I meant about viruses and bacterial STDs that infect mucous membranes. It's not just your private parts; it's any part of, and
Yeah. That happens. You know, that's why you were talking about in the throat and whatnot. But let me put it this way: if children are getting that in the throat, then there's something else going on there that you should be more concerned with.
Yeah. Oh
Just,
gosh, that's booty
you know.
judge, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that was Buttigieg, but I don't know if that's a fake picture.
So
That could be
the
a complete.
back 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago, they had these they called it clade 2 was a type of monkeypox. So it was almost just I needed to check almost exclusively it was sexual contact. Yeah. And that's why it's really discerning when they go, yes, almost all. And then that included a significant chunk of those cases in the States, initial cases too, were children. Like, and that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's worse than having cocaine metabolites in the hair follicle of your 9-year-old, you know? How did he get there?
Yeah, how did he get there?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty bad topic. Not trying to make light of it, but yeah, that's really weird. Yeah, it's just, I don't know therapies, but yeah, so that was. Where did you get that photo? What kind of feed are you tuning into? You get fraternity sorority girls, and you get
I have no idea. Like I get so much like weird stuff that comes across. Like
yeah.
What is this? Trump Vance. I don't understand. See, I do get a lot of the Trump Vance stuff and weird like when is it? Oh yeah, here we go. So this is exactly what I said yesterday. Exactly what I was talking about yesterday.
Sir. The New York Times, I wanted to ask you about the latest economic news from this morning with inflation now being under 3%, the lowest rate since mid-2021. What is your sort of reaction to that news?
Well, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Look, when they say that inflation is down, they mean from a baseline where groceries are already 30% more expensive than they were when Donald Trump was president. And they're not saying it's coming down. They're just saying it's not going up as fast as it was 3 years ago. That is not a reputation or a record to brag on. That's a record to be ashamed of. Why did it take them so long to get inflation to where it is? And why are prices so high? It's because Kamala Harris failed to do her job. So if they want to go around, and this is, you know, it's funny. Kamala Harris, on the one hand, will say, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis. And like I said earlier, Kamala Harris has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, she's in effect been the acting president because we all know Joe Biden isn't home. So she's been the one controlling government policy for 3.5 years. She says she wants to tackle the affordability crisis on day one. And then on the other hand, she'll say, well, we've already got inflation under control. Well, which is it, Kamala? Which is it? The simple truth is America's credit card debt is getting higher. Americans are finding the basic necessities of middle-class life less affordable. Americans are becoming, especially young people, are becoming paupers in their own country. If we don't do better Our young generation, they're not going to own anything. They're not going to have anything. They're going to be renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. Inflation is a disaster. Kamala Harris does not have a leg to stand on.
And that's it. That's all it comes down to. I mean, and I think this is something that we should be hammering on quite often. You know, that it's not any better. It's not getting any better. And
if Max has decided to become Democrat, and I'm going to champion DEI, Nirvana. And stuff like that. So if I need to do that, my friends in media, you know what they need to do right away, and I think it's happening. That guy JD Vance, he's a smooth talking hillbilly, and the more you keep him off the airwaves, and you allow people to read what is the truth, like everything else, then that's how you're going to win the election. But you can't let that smooth talking who's the previous smooth? He's a real smooth talking hillbilly, real hillbilly.
He is.
You know who was kind of the smooth talking hillbilly that was charming and everything else? That was Bill Clinton in 1990. Yeah. He was
exactly right.
He was.
Exactly right.
He got away with it. But in this case, JD Vance doesn't come off as like smooth talking. I'm saying he talks more honestly. I think he's not mumbling, stumbling over definitions and spewing out bullshit. So I think that's going to be, and neither is Trump. And so I think that's what you want to do. You would say, keep that guy off the airwaves. Don't let the average American hear him talk. Instead, you're going to get people on CNN, and they're going to tell you what he said and didn't say, and that'll be good enough. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That chick. She's.
Yeah.
You know what? She's okay. I actually I realized like there were some things that I believed. I believed that her husband was a judge on the committee, and that's how she got in there. No, it's not the case. He was a coach, and then I saw a clip of another break dancer that looked a lot better. And I said, "Oh man, yeah, that's obviously." But then I looked at other clips of her doing her stuff, and I said, "You know what? Nothing, no better. She just decided a different repertoire." So I don't think she's terrible. I don't think it was a case where it's not like that case of the Somalian sprinter where she had one of the slowest recorded times for the Olympics, and it turned out that her father or husband was on the committee, right, and very connected to ministers, and so it was a clear case of nepotism. I don't think this is a case of nepotism, and so.
And here's the thing. I don't think anybody should harass her family or friends or anything like that. They should totally be laughing at her for an abysmal performance, because that's what it was. I mean, if you
it was kind of catchy. Again, I'm aspiring to be a DEI chief, so I think what could have been done would have been to point out that breakdancing for a white woman not to have checked her white privilege and acknowledged that this is a traditional African American tradition, that was just out of line, and she should have been disqualified right away.
Yeah, there you go.
And there's the hate crime for you, And if you don't agree with me, somebody in the UK wants to talk to you, fly you over, extradite you.
I mean, here's the thing: she sucked, and that's why she scored 0 points, is because it was absolutely horrible. It was abysmal, and oh well. I mean, that's how it goes, and you know how you respond to people like this. In all honesty, this is how you respond to people that want to talk about how horrible her performance was. Go back and get better, so that way, whenever you come in the next 4 years, you come to Los Angeles, that you can actually show them that you actually do have some talent.
No,
Instead
I
of
have some
trying-
advice for this sport. This they tried to introduce to the Olympics. They really should. They really need to go back and honor the cultural traditions where it came from. This was from African American gangs originally. So we need to combine this with skeet shooting, with guns and knives.
Oh yes,
that will make it a real combat sport, and that will make it competitive, and that will make the Olympics great again.
Risa Murphy has been a member for 5 months. She's like, put Max on the Mo for President ticket as VP. Yeah, you've seen Mo's
No.
you haven't
Really?
seen Mo's advertisement?
Oh, she trying to seriously? Wow.
Oh, here I gotta pull down the comment here, but and you'll see it because I'm gonna hide both of us real quick. Hold on, here we go.
Oh, it's right under your picture. No, not.
Yeah, it says Mo in the deep end for president. Hand jobs for all.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, that's not what hand
You go
jobs
like
are.
this. Hey, it's like this. Hey, I'm reaching.
No, you have to listen to Mo's story about this. So what it was is Mo in the deep end. She did she had her children were watching what's that, Karl Rove or whatever, the guy that does all the building and stuff like that.
Karl Rove was a strategist, right? He was a
no, I can't remember. It used to do dirty jobs.
Oh, Mike Rowe, yeah.
Mike Rowe,
yeah.
So he was doing all of these things, and they were watching that. And one of her children was saying that that they didn't want to go to college, and she was saying, hey, you can get a job, you can go to trade school, you can get you can learn to do work with your hands. And so on one day on their way to school, and she tells the story much better because Mo's just damn hilarious. Says that one day to school, they were sitting in back, and it's just like, yeah, I can't wait to tell my teacher about I'm going to go get some hand jobs. I think as many hand jobs as I can possibly give. That's where it all came from. So the hand jobs for all, it is a Moism, a joke. So it's pretty good. They know to handouts and yes to hand jobs. That's awesome. Yeah, Mo is hilarious. Mo is just an amazing person. I enjoy her so much. But it looks like there's that Vance and Walz are going to have a debate October 1st. So
oh, really? Okay.
That's way off. That's way off.
Yeah, that's like a month, not even a month before the election. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Vance, from what I understand, he was like, no, I want to have as many debates as possible against this guy. Bring it on. Because you have to understand, if I could be wrong on this, if I'm not mistaken, Vance was part of his debate team, so he knows the rules of doing like a real debate.
Vance was part of which team? Debate team?
I think in college, he was part of the debate team.
Well, he did his, but he also, I think his MOS. I don't know what his MOS in the Marine Corps was like.
He was
military journalism. He was military journalism, and I have his book. I haven't finished it, but
Hillbilly Elegy. It's a good book.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I'll point out, it didn't. It came out what he did 2017 or something, 2018. He didn't. It survived. It hasn't been like, oh my god, there's a guy on a much smaller scale who came out with a book around the same time, and it was called From Democrat to Deplorable, and the author of that, he used it to kind of explain. Yes, he worked previously in Democrat causes and things like he made $1 million plus from this BS Obama linked Washington D.C. public school thing. This guy he did go to Georgetown, but Jack Murphy, the guy who was outed like like a cuck. Can you say that word? Jack Murphy his John Goldman. I looked him up, and so he has a master's in international area studies from Georgetown, in Latin America. But that's not what he put on his resume in order to get a job as kind of like the CFO of this public school restructuring thing where they pay themselves handsomely. He said he had a master's in international finance. That degree doesn't exist.
No.
And so he
had in his resume.
He lied deliberately to give himself a qualification or a major that doesn't exist. And so I thought that was actually a scandal that was coming out. Like and he paid himself, like one year was $850,000 or something. Is ridiculous. But then of course, he's kind of becoming this, I'm now very based and etc. Then you find him. Other thing is he's working in the public school system in Washington, D.C. And then on his OnlyFans or something, he's moaning and saying how he took it up the butt of a 15-year-old boy. So I'm thinking, well, the guy's not just a hypocrite in a whatever, but he's also potentially a PDF file. So that's like, wow, that's
I was very suspicious of that guy, especially whenever I was seeing him on Tim Pool all the time. I was like, what in the hell? Why is this guy always showing up on Tim Pool? Like, because he wrote a book about, I think it was Democrat to Deplorable or something like that.
Yeah,
and it was fake. I mean,
it was fake. So what I'm saying is, J.D. Vance's book, it's been out for what 6 years, 6 or 7 years?
Oh, longer.
No one's come out and said, I have debunked it. He really was. He went to private school. He went to Andover. He didn't. This hillbilly stuff is all made up.
It's not. I mean, that's the thing is. I'm sure the book is going to make him out to be a little bit more than what he is, but I don't see him. I just for whatever reason it doesn't come across as being like suspicious or sitting there going.
And he's never obfuscated or he's never big upped or lied about his military service. Exactly that. He did his stint. He used to go to college. He was a corporal and what was his MOS? Military journalism or something.
Yeah.
Unlike Waltz, and so now you're getting these things where, and you do have it on record. He said, I was a master sergeant. What was it? Master sergeant?
He said he was a command, he said he was a retired command master sergeant.
He wasn't. He didn't make it. And the other guys who succeeded him, when they said, he kind of opted out so that he didn't have to go over. And to run his campaign, they called, they didn't think much of him. So he's scrambling to get people who former buddies, and you can always find one or two or three who will say good things about you and say, no, he's great and honorable. But he's lied, and it's like the Blumenthal, the guy who was lying about losing guys in combat.
That's not what they say. See, they keep going back to his 24 years of prior service. Yes, he did serve 24 years. He served 24 years honorably. It was the last part of that stint that he was doing where he has claimed that he came back from Afghanistan with PTSD, that he knows all about this. And I mean, I've got the stuff that I've played on my streams.
If you look at a lot of the stolen valor cases, a lot of times we mistakenly assume that stolen valor cases are only when the person hasn't served a day in his life and then he claims he's a Navy SEAL. But there are a lot of cases where guys have served honorably. They've done things, but then I've run into a person, a guy out here. He's from Eagle Pass, Texas. He's Hispanic American. He did his 20 years and he was a master sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps. And then he came out here several years ago. He's now probably in his 60s. But then I heard things, and then I actually saw, get this. I saw him one. I saw him one night. This is what happened was he was going out claiming that he was a full-bird. He was a colonel, U.S. Marine Corps retired.
Oh,
and he would even wear. And so it was this one time I got a call from my best friend, and he goes, he used to be stationed in Okinawa, and he goes, "Hey, Max, there were these there were actually 3 first lieutenants in the Marines that they met down in Okinawa, and they were doing training in near Mount Fuji. So they said, "Hey, they're going to have a night over in Tokyo. So can you take care of them?" I said, "Sure." It was around Thanksgiving, so I no, it was after Thanksgiving. Okay, so I took them out one day, and then the ship that was supposed to take them from Tokyo back to Okinawa, it was delayed, so we had another night. We went out, and so I put out a message because I said, "Hey, especially former Marines, if we're going to do something over at Gonpachi or something. It's a restaurant. It just like Kill Bill, and they act Kill Bill. Quentin Tarantino asked them, "Can we film in your restaurant?" And they said no. So they went to China and rebuilt the thing. That's the rest. It was a cool restaurant. Anyways, this guy Bob showed up, and he had apparently looked like he had gone to a black tie event. So I didn't think much of it. We went to another bar. But then the guys were these Marines. They were one of them actually went to Yale undergraduate, and I was kind of teasing him because I said, "You weren't really popular doing ROTC in at Yale, you know." And he's going, "Yeah, tell me about it." But they had done Iraq, and this is a while ago. And
happy birthday, Valhalla.
Oh, a while ago. And what I remember was they were going, "Yeah, that guy's like a colonel." I go, "He's not a." But then I just kind of parked it in the back of my head, and I remembered. So he was going around to people who wouldn't know the difference, and he didn't know me really well. So he assumed, "Well, okay, well, Max isn't a veteran or anything," and so he was going to VFW and all that. He was like really active in that. So he had told everyone that he was a colonel, and he wasn't, and it wasn't necessary for him to people would be, I think, what was he? He was a gunny. I think he was or above that in the Marine Corps, and he'd done this. And so he could have been just, that's perfectly respectable. But for whatever reason, he needed to big up himself. It wasn't only that. I don't know if it's still up there.
I was going to I got to address this. Yeah, Valhalla. Nick Starr was coming over today. Now I talked to Nick last night for a good amount of time. But I think that I've got the coof. And whenever I talked with Nick, he said, "Hey, you want to go to the museum with me to go see the Bigfoot Museum?" It was up in Blue Ridge. And I said, "Man, I would love to go, but I don't want to screw up the rest of your trip by getting you sick." So I opted out. But yeah, we talked a bit. He's heading up. Stop lying.
You told him you had.
Every day
you told him you had the coof, right?
Yeah.
You know how you freak somebody out? Sorry, I don't want to ruin your trip by giving you the monkeypox because we only have one spare bed that we gotta sleep in together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's Wall's stolen valor, and just listen real close.
And both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this. Having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home.
Yeah, this is him with it saying, "Oh, I've never claimed that I went to Afghanistan."
And that was the extent of it. That was in 2004. Now, I'm proud to say that because of the people sitting in here and people who came before me, things have changed over the last 4 years. They have not changed enough. But Mr. Kennedy is following and moving something forward that the late senator from Minnesota, Senator Wellstone, advocated so clearly: mental health parity, and this issue of destigmatizing mental health, of understanding. And I, being in there and knowing as a first sergeant, know exactly what you're saying, and watching as people aren't trained on this, that there's a discrimination that goes against a soldier who has the courage, the fortitude, and, as you said, the insight to admit this. So there's a couple things I want to ask you.
But yeah, that was him claiming that he was in Afghanistan.
No, he didn't deploy. No, he left before that.
Yeah, he was. Well, and that's the kind of crap that you have to deal with. But I did find this story. This one here is very, very important to read. Local man's stomach pumped after neighborhood dare goes wrong. Nebraska man hospitalized after unusual ingestion. Okay, guys,
what?
this is fake story. Okay, this is a fake story. It's
Oh,
it's
oh.
completely BS. It's
Oh,
completely
oh,
BS.
oh.
Yeah, it's about a man drinking horse semen, and the reason you know it's completely a fake story is because it is so far fetched. And one of the international moose count underway by Bob O'Bobston. I mean, that was the other story under it. It's a fake story. It's never happened. So I had to pull that one up because that one just made me laugh.
Oh, well, that's too bad. I was hoping it'd be true.
But this one is not. This one is not.
Oh, I got a lot of I got a lot on. Oh, here's one. This is from Tokyo
This is the
Reporter. I'll put it
aftermath
into the
of violence. This is the aftermath of wreckage. This is the aftermath of pain. This all around me. This liquor store gone. Pawn store down there gone. AutoZone burned to the ground. This police station that is supposed to keep people safe can now no longer keep the community safe. Now the community no longer has any protection. And for what? What is the point of all of this wreckage? What is the point of all of this hurt and all of this pain? I was just talking to somebody that's local to this neighborhood, and she told me that now she doesn't have a grocery store, and now they don't have an auto parts store, and now they don't have a liquor store, and they don't have a pawn shop, and they don't have so many small businesses that put their blood, sweat, and tears and their entire livelihoods into building up. They put so much time and energy and money and resources into this neighborhood to build it up for years, possibly a decade, to build it up so that it can all be destroyed over the course of 3 or 4 nights. For what? It's not for justice. It's not for Black lives, because you're destroying more Black lives with all of this destruction than you're helping by protesting. You want to make this about Black lives? You want to talk about Black lives? Think about all of the people who sacrificed their Black lives to build up their dreams here. Think about all the Black lives that live in this neighborhood that now don't have a grocery store to go to, that now don't have a Target to go to, that now don't have a gym to go to, that now don't have anywhere to work out, that now don't have anything. Think about those Black lives the next time you go out destroying, the next time you go out looting, the next time you react in violence against injustice. I understand injustice, I understand hurt, I understand violence, and I understand pain, but this is not the way. This is not the way. This is not the way.
Yeah, that right there was around Lake Street where they burned down all of that for 3 days before they finally brought in the National Guard.
Okay, I was wondering because I thought I see white people walking in the background. Go, is this a stage? Is this a ruse or something? I thought, oh.
No, that was Walls. That was Walls being in charge of it.
I see. I got you a story in the private chat.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution.
Oh, yes.
Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place.
We all do start out at the same place. What does she mean? So we all start out the same place. We're born into this world. What we decide to do is up to us.
It's the German. I think almost Kamala has said this, which is the 1875 Marx work. He said, "From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs."
Yes.
And I don't know where she said, but she said almost. It was weird because she almost 100% directly quoted that, and I thought, wait, that's really familiar. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. From each according. Remember how she said,
Yep.
"Where you're
As
from?"
opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more. So we all end up in the same place, right? We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base. We see that people in our country are having an experience
At a bank forum.
Oh, wow.
that is not equal. So when we talk about the work we are doing here together, it is recognizing that and being guided by this principle of what we must do in the spirit and in the interest of equity. To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy. But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit
I didn't post.
Black
Oh, well.
children, Black families, Black homeowners.
I don't want to be in the same place as some of you. I love it.
Okay. Oh, I didn't post, but you can get that through. I put it in private chat there. That's the quote that Marx is credited with. It's 1875. This is Karl Marx.
Did you?
Don't say Karl.
Oh,
It failed to post in Whiz.
I know.
put it
I know
in
why I'm
chat.
not able to see it. I know why I'm not able to see it. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. German getter, not. I can't even pronounce that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cat.
Oh, this is a cat burglar. He was caught twice. He nabbed again for sniffing women's underwear.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a picture of the guy, and
there we go.
Wait a minute.
Burglars nabbed for sniffing women's underwear again. Tokyo Metropolitan Police have arrested a former actor who stands accused of trespassing into a woman resident to sniff her underwear, and it's not the first time. At around 8 o'clock on August 2nd, I'm not even going to try to say his name. Kubashi, Taga. Shit. Why do you have to have such difficult names? A former actor and theater troupe allegedly trespassed in
Tagoku, yeah.
In this city apartment occupied by two people, including a woman in her 20s, and sniffed a selection of women's underwear. Broke in to satisfy my sexual desire. The suspect was quoted by police in admitting to the allegations. I want to feel a strong sense of tension by sneaking into someone's home. According to the police station, the guy who entered the residence through a window and sniffed one woman's underwear in a closet. The woman and her male partner then returned home. After the suspect fled, the pair gave chase and apprehended him. He was active overseas ballet dancer for many years after returning to Japan. Worked as an actor mainly in musicals. He was popular, appearing in Fist of the North Star, Showtime with Hoyu, and Cats. The rest was the first who lives in Gochi. In 2022, he appeared in Cats. Jesus, why do you have to have such difficult names? He really faced himself every day and deeply regrets it. Do you think he's going to stop? He was in Cats, so he's a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Arrested
awesome.
For where is it? Arrested for stealing underwear. Okay, here.
You got one.
Yeah, this is a politician. There's a politician. I think he resigned. He's still a member, so he gets all the benefits. This is a Google Translate. This might not come out, but anyways, I know this I don't know him personally, but I've met him before. Named Tsuyoshi Takagi, and when uh when he was young, he stole hundreds of pairs of women's underwear in the city of Fukui, and he got away with it because it was reported by the whole thing how he got a slap on the wrist. It was all covered up. It was printed by this tabloid, a political tabloid. So his father was a mayor of Fukui. So they went out to every outlet in that town, in that city, to buy up that publication so that no one would read it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
I thought that was kind of funny. So whenever I see him, like I saw him at a friend's wedding, and he was like one of the keynote speakers, and I couldn't say anything out loud. I was at a large table, so I wrote on a piece of paper because his last name is Takagi, but the Japanese word for underwear is shitagi. So I said, "Hey, isn't that shitagi?" And my friend understood, and he thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, the underwear thief.
Oh my God.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. 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 What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What 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 can be.
It's just 4 minutes of her repeating the same thing over and over.
And it doesn't mean anything. It's such
exactly.
Yeah.
Unlike this young lady right here.
My name is Jade. I am a former Democrat. Unlike Kamala Harris, I'm an actual real life Black woman. And I'm a former Democrat who is currently registered Republican.
Why?
I stand here before you today because I'm tired. I'm tired of the Democrats using the generational trauma of my people to garner votes. They invoke fear. They tell me I'm oppressed. They tell me I'm less than. They tell me I'm not good enough. And they tell me that my white brothers and sisters in Christ are my enemy. No. They are not. As a follower of Jesus Christ, Ephesians 5:11 tells me I must expose the works of the enemy. Amen. And the enemy is telling me that don't worry that I can't pay my bills, that I'm working 6 days a week this week and I'm tired. And I went to school and I have a career. I'm doing worse under this administration than in Donald Trump's administration, but I'm told to be afraid of a man who made my life better. How does that work? Make it make sense. During COVID, I knew more of my white guy friends that lost their jobs than me and my Black girlfriends. We are the same in this country. All these Americans want the same thing. We want safety. We want prosperity. We want peace. And the Democrats keep going back and look, check it out, right? I honor my ancestors and the people who fought for us to be in this room here today. No one is discounting what my people went through, but honor them by getting past it and invoking forgiveness in this culture. I'm so tired of being told I need to be afraid. I'm so tired that I need to be told all the time that I have to vote for the Democrats who have done nothing positive for my life at all. My life is totally worse than it was during the Trump administration. Yet I kept having, you must vote for the Democrats. We're told this as Black people since we were a child. Let's honor our ancestors by doing better and honor them, because they're rolling over in their graves hearing the fact that Kamala Harris is having Megan Thee Stallion twerk and showing our bodies as these like just vessels of lust. That's not cool. These women out here are being told that Donald Trump is like their enemy, when really Kamala Harris opening up the border, look what happened to Laken Riley. She's a woman. She was a woman just like I am. No woman, Black or white, wants that to happen to her. All of these people whose kids are dying, the Black moms, the white moms, they all cry the same color tears. So let's move past this. Let's vote for Donald Trump so we can all be prosperous again. Let's get out of this fear, this rage, and this anger because it comes from the devil. So hear me, Black folks. Hear me, white folks. We are so much more alike than we are different.
You're right. And you notice that they don't try to show anything other than the size crowd that they have. Isn't that strange? Isn't it strange that they're not trying to boost up and say, hey, look, we have this huge crowd that's hanging out here.
No, they had a the last election had a big problem with the rallies, and they were,
Yeah, this one they're having a big problem with the rallies too. Now you've seen the one where everybody shows the Photoshop pictures, and they've said, oh, we've debunked this, and this isn't true, and the rallies were just as big as we say they are, all that neat kind of stuff. Well, sort of. And I'll pull it up here so you can, because I did have to pull this one up just for everybody so they could see that big crowd, the big crowd for Camel Toe. Okay. Now, because someone said, hey, this is somebody that is a Harris supporter. This is not fake. That you saw the big crowds in that building. It's a trick of the camera. And here is what the crowd really looked like. This is what the crowd really looked like.
Where? For
this
Harris?
Is the crowd for Harris. This is the true crowd for Harris.
Oh, okay.
That is what the crowd looked like. There's a good amount of people there.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
But you notice where they're facing. That was the crowd of supporters for Harris. It wasn't the big massive crowd that everybody else was showing. It wasn't this big massive crowd here. So this is the crowd that they were showing. And it's been pointed out numerous times that these pictures, the images that are on the phones they're match
blank
up with anything. Well, and they're showing the back. They're pointed at the back of people's heads. Like this camera here doesn't show the same thing as this one, even close to it. And they're using old Blackberries and old iPhone 6s and crap like these images don't match up because they've been photoshopped in.
I see, yeah.
And like I showed you on the last one that outside of all the other images and all that kind of crap, I'm sure that there were people there, but they did not have the crowds that they're showing. And you saw the images that were taken from that particular place show how many people were actually there. It's a trick of the camera. And you got enough of this stuff that's blurred out here that you can't really focus. You've got people that are 9 feet tall out here.
You'd actually think, this is more when Kim Jong-il was in power, we'd make fun of North Koreans photoshopping, make sure that dear leader was looking taller and all sorts of other crap. It was kind of funny because we're laughing at the North Koreans because, their technology sucked and their know-how. To see in 2024 that Democrats are basically trying to get away with North Korean level Photoshop propaganda. It's kind of sad. Yeah. Oh, America is poor country. You cannot make good Photoshop. North Korea, number one, best Korea.
This is a new case that came out. I showed this earlier in the week. This is so there will be some disturbing images. I just want you guys to know there's some very disturbing images here.
Victim's body was found this morning, just like all the rest. Perfectly preserved, buried 6 feet underground. An engraved stone marking its location. Sir, you might want to come look at this.
Jesus Christ.
Next week on Cops Who Are Confused About Cemeteries.
I need all these bodies dug up immediately.
Sir, some of these victims are over 200 years old. You telling me this son of a bitch is immortal?
Victim's body was found this morning. Just like.
Oh.
Sorry.
Where'd you get that? We're allowed to print this? Okay.
No. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I really had to do it. Oh.
Are we? Aren't you still getting the sorority girls in your feed? Come on.
Yeah, I still get the sorority girls in my feed, but this is a good one too. Day 0. I saves a deer, little baby deer.
What's a deer? Oh, I thought it was going to be an alligator.
No, he saves the deer. Day 1, little deer comes by.
Oh, I know what it's going to do.
Day 2, feeds the deer. Day 3,
yeah, tacos, venison.
I'm so bad. Oh,
yeah, that was kind of. Yeah,
so you saw the I know that you've seen this.
And on the question of when he left the National Guard, he filed his election paperwork February 10th, 2005. That was a month before the National Guard even announced that it was possible that they would deploy to Iraq, and it ended up being 2 months. He retired 2 months before they actually got the paperwork.
But on CNN last night, Dana, one of the people who was actually in charge of him said they knew they were going to deploy to Iraq in February of 2004. So, or excuse me, fall of 2004. So he knew he was going to Iraq. He decided to quit, to retire, whatever word you want to use, because he wanted to run for Congress. He lied about that. He said that when he decided to retire, he did not know that he was going to Iraq. That is another untruth, as even his senior military officer said. So again, I'm not criticizing the service. I'm criticizing the dishonesty. Dishonesty spoken in favor and for the purpose of political benefit. And I think that the most important thing here, Dana, is it goes to Kamala Harris's judgment. Tim Walz is ultimately going to be the vice president. Kamala Harris is in great health. I'm sure she's going to be president if she wins for 4 or maybe even 8 years. Why did Kamala Harris choose a person who has lied about their military service? I think that is a serious lapse in judgment. And I don't want to hear from a campaign spokesperson of Kamala Harris. I want to hear Kamala Harris herself address what I just said.
You know, I've
Yes. And this, you notice that they haven't come out with anything beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is they've backed off from that quite a bit. Now they're calling themselves the Joyful Party or some crap like that.
It sounds like a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, are they going to get into what is that? Paula? Joyful, da 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 da. You know.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Joyful. I did.
Yeah.
It's Ode to Joy.
So I think this one is a fake one here.
Mm-hmm.
I think this next one I'm going to show you is pretty fake. See if I can
Andy Freud, yeah. Andy Freud is.
What's on the vice president's schedule today?
Well, she's traveling and talking to voters and getting her message out there to the American people, something that she's been doing from the very start of this campaign and something that she certainly did when she was President Biden's running mate as vice president. But look, you just mentioned the speech she's going to be giving
But that's right. I was asking about today, and I don't think she's got any campaign events on the schedule today, does she?
Well, she and Governor Walz have been traveling across the country. They hit nearly every battleground state last week. On the campaign trail, they raised $36 million within the first 24 hours. Governor Walz winning the ticket. And what she's going to be doing Friday is taking her economic message directly to the voters in North Carolina. I certainly don't want to get in front of exactly what she's going to say, but she's going to talk a little bit about how she's going to make sure that she's putting consumers first as part of her economic plan. She's going to take on corporate price gougers. She's going to take on junk fees. And that's something that, John, she did when she was Attorney General of California, something she continued to do as the United States Senator of California. So she's going to be taking that message out to voters, and I look forward to seeing more of what she's going to say on Friday.
I think we all do, and I'll ask you more about that in just a second. The reason I was asking about today is because it seems like she has time, if she wanted, to do an interview with a member of the media or do a news conference, correct? There does appear to be that time if she wanted.
Well, look, she has said on the campaign trail that she would be doing an interview at some point. She said that, I think, last week during a rope line, or when she was talking to reporters. But look, what is important here, John, is that she is taking her message directly to the American people. She hit a number of battleground states. I think we had 15,000 people in Detroit last week, 12 to 13,000 in Nevada. She's been taking her message to the voters and drawing large crowds. So she's actually having those direct conversations.
But not today. All I'm saying is not today. She could do an interview today, I would think, because she's not out there today.
Well, look, she's taking her message directly to voters, and just because she doesn't have an interview schedule on her public schedule doesn't mean that she's not taking her message directly to voters.
Like I said, I think that's a fake, but it still draws to the point. Good morning, Heidi. Evading the answer. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's basically kicked her press off of following her around. Like that is no lie. Like the press that would normally be following her from location to location and asking her questions as her campaign is going on, they're not allowed to travel with her.
Oh.
Like even Biden had people that were hanging out, the media was constantly hanging out, almost like, to make them look good, but she hasn't been able to do that.
Why, they're going to catch her drunk or hungover
or it's because this is the kind of stuff that they want to show right here. This is the kind of stuff that they want to, this is what she allows them to see, right? Things like this, where she shows up, puts some flowers, this is the kind of stuff that you've got to, that she'll show. And this is, for I believe it's Senator McCain, like the anniversary of his passing. So she comes and lays some flowers down at these kinds of places, and it's just she shows up for a photo op and then immediately jumps back in her car and is like, I'm out of here. Like, we'll give an interview. Wears the mask. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did you cover? Was this a correct story yesterday? I saw it on Newsmax and maybe some other places, but they said there was a Secret Service woman who was a female Secret Service agent who was caught breastfeeding in a private room reserved for the president before he was arriving. Right. She went off her. She wasn't supposed to take leave of duty from her station or whatever, and there was the whatever you call it, the chief agent in charge of the security detail for President Trump was making the rounds, and then there was a room that was reserved for the president for emergencies, and in the room was two family members of the Secret Service agent, and the Secret Service agent was breastfeeding her baby, so they weren't supposed to be there. I don't know. Is that true? Or that story came out, and I thought, wow, that is just like so bad. And of course, every time these things come up, I always think, maybe that's fake. Maybe somebody planted that out there.
I didn't cover that.
But this is ridiculous. This was if we just go like Trump. Secret Service breastfeeding.
This is the kind of stuff that I talk about. Like, here we go. We've got Fact Focus will look at claims made by Trump at a news conference, which will say everything that he said is a lie. Fact Focus, false claims follow Minnesota's governor selection as Harris's running mate. So, like, they're basically saying everything that Trump says is a lie, and then they turn around, they try to say everything that Wallace is saying is true.
Oh,
just like they're
wait a
saying
minute.
Russian
Here it
disinformation
is.
slams Paris and amplifies the Khalif debate to undermine the Olympics. But this had nothing to do with Russia. This was the boxing league that said no, this is a dude. And of course, dude is sitting there saying, I'm going to sue Elon Musk and J.K. Rowling for lies about my sex. And then, you know what I would say if I were them? Okay, let's go to court over this. And you'll have to prove that you're a male.
Because I don't want to get grossed out with discovery. Okay, someone's going to have to do it. Come on, have a heart. You just disgusting. I put the thing. This was a Fox News thing. They said,
oh yeah,
Secret
it is
Service
Fox News thing.
Investigating report. Agent left post to breastfeed during a Trump campaign event. It's like what? So yeah, I was.
This.
It's so bad. If you click that link, though, this video will come up. You'll hear the sound.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Give me a second. Jesus. Hey,
there's a news
hold on.
link as well. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. I have to play through an ad real quick.
Okay.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No.
So do you agree? The first reaction is this is probably fake, right?
Before I go into it, the first thing that came up over this crap,
what?
And the ad that I was forced to play on there was plant-based meat.
Oh yeah.
Dairy-free dairy.
Let's go to Alexis McAdams, who was there that day with more of that stunning footage. Alexis.
Hey, Emily. So being on the ground that day was one angle to see this from, but this body cam footage shows another vantage point. This is in the minutes right after the shooting. You can hear these cops talking about what went horribly wrong. One officer livid, saying he told the Secret Service to secure that roof. Watch.
I'd say this is a.
No, that's not the video, but is it?
Why were we not on the roof?
No, that's not the video we're talking about. The article is what we're looking at, not the video.
Yeah, hold on.
The post the guys over here. I told him that the Secret Service. I told him that Tuesday. I told him the post guys over here. What?
Holy crap.
No, we're inside. Alpha 1, Bravo 1. I told him the guys over here.
Yeah, so he's saying he told them to put Secret Service near that rooftop. No one was there but the gunman. So check this out. About 30 seconds before this person opened fire from the roof, one officer had a chance to stop this entire thing, to stop Tom.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. Trump Secret Service agent reported, a female agent reportedly left her post at a Trump campaign event in North Carolina to go breastfeed. Secret Service acknowledged the allegations and issued a statement to Fox News Digital stating that the investigation was underway. All employees of the U.S. Secret Service are held to the highest standards. Apparently not. While there was no impact of the North Carolina event, the specifics of this incident are being examined. Given this personal matter, they are not in position to comment further, a spokesperson for the agency said. Well, and did you see that? You know who's following
below? Look below. It the last paragraph kind of really says, the site agent was went to do one final sweep of the walking route and found the agent breastfeeding her child in a room that is supposed to be set aside for important Secret Service official work. That's
potential emergency related to the president.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I mean, her family's. If you're on duty, you're not. Your family's not supposed to be there at the event. So she had her family members bring the child. So she.
Right.
That's just like what?
Of course they didn't. They didn't cover the building. Secret Service was in on it all. Well, no, you know who's following Vance around? You remember the
Oh
Secret
yeah.
Service
The
little female
the
couldn't put her
chubby
gun away?
She couldn't holster her weapon. Yeah.
I don't think she's as chubby as you think. I think that she was probably wearing some sort of
Vest.
body armor,
Yeah.
and she couldn't
Uh-huh.
get it past the vest. So I don't think she was as chubby as you think. I think that
Oh.
because of the body armor, she couldn't get it into where it needed to be. That's from lack of training. Like, this is not a highly trained person to be able to do that. During Donald
Yeah.
Trump visit North Carolina, a woman in Secret Service was had abandoned her post to breastfeed with no permission or warning to the event site agent, according to 3 sources. The working agent that duty may not bring a child to a protective assignment. She said the agent in question was from the Atlanta field office. Go figure. It comes is facing heightened scrutiny in the wake of the July 13th. Think about this. July 13th, it's just been barely over a month. And that's how long Harris has been running. It's been a month. She got put in her position without ever being primaried. And she was the only one that was eligible to be put on the ticket. I mean, because nobody primaried. Nobody filled out the signatures because everyone was saying Biden was going to do it. So nobody got the signatures that were needed. Do you think it was pre-planned that Harris would do this? I mean, come on. Click here to get. I don't care about Fox. I really don't like Fox News because I find them just, and I've been this way for the past year. Just like, yeah, I don't like Fox News because they're no different. I think it's actually been since 2020. Whenever Fox News called it for Arizona and all the votes hadn't been tallied.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Fox News is full of crap. I've got no love for them whatsoever.
I put into private chat the 30-30 initiative. I don't know if you know about that, but the Secret Service has adopted it. It's on their homepage, but I just gave you the homepage of the 30-30 initiative. You go 30x30initiative.org. So their ultimate goal is to say increase representation of women in police.
Policing
recruit
undermines
classes to
safety.
30% by 2030.
Yeah. Not that they're qualified, not that they're able to do the job, just that that it's a body to fill a spot.
Yeah. It's interesting because they say they want 30% of women in police recruit classes. Yeah, and you could argue they're doing this because they're saying, okay, we're not saying that you want 30% of women graduating from recruit classes, But I think that's what they mean. They're already saying like women are currently 12% of sworn officers and 3% of police leadership. So I think if they're honest, they're saying their goal by 2030 is to have 30%, which is.
Isn't it weird that they all of a sudden understand what women are whenever they say this?
Yeah,
a mother or caregiver or pregnant officer may require certain physical accommodations. No, they don't deserve any physical accommodation.
For some of the positions, like in say in diplomatic security service, that's DSS in the State Department. It's weird because where they're pushing this DEI. I know one agent, and he is he's Asian, he's American, of course, but he kind of pointed out for certain of these things where he'd be technically eligible, he's told he's not and they kind of went not very politically correctly and said there's too many Asians. So they meant, just kind of like what Disney would do. They mean blacks or openly transgender gay women, but not Asian men because they're white, just like Kamala's
look
mother.
Who they're saying the participating agencies are. I mean, this is almost every single police department across the country. is
and
participating in this.
and go up to the agencies, ATF, Secret Services in there, probably FBI, you know,
Good
and
Lord.
even the intelligence.
Drug
You have,
enforcement,
yeah,
Postal
DEA.
Service, Postal Inspection, U.S. Department of Agriculture, additional supporters at New York University Law School.
and the ones with, probably the ones with the huge freaking budgets, like Department of Energy, they're huge.
Oh yeah, Microsoft, New Blue
DOE.
Project.
DOE
Yeah, New Blue
likes
Project.
DEI. Wait, maybe DOE isn't there. That would be interesting. It's not as visible.
DOE, you don't think? No, I'm sure
Mm.
DOE is in there.
A lot of people don't realize how big DOE is, and they think,
Yeah.
oh, well, and they don't. It's kind of like people focus on CIA, and they don't realize, well, they're not the largest budget. They administer it, but they're not the largest.
So what I don't understand about this group is if they're looking for 30%, then why do they have 100% women on their board? Their steering committee is 100% women. Like where's the 30% men? I don't see a single man on here.
It's really hard to figure out what an actual woman is. Okay.
So they've got.
Wait. What's the definition? I know the Biden definition. He goes, "I know it when I smell it."
Yeah, these women are definitely not trained well. To be fair, I know some amazing women cops who outdo some male cops here in Ohio. I've met some pretty amazing female police officers, but here's the problem: they can, no matter how amazing they are, they can easily be overpowered by a male, easily, and this becomes dangerous because it forces them to go further than a male officer would have to by drawing a weapon. And I'm not saying that it's all women and all males this won't happen. But whenever you've got someone that's in a weaker position of power as a police officer, that if they can't meet the standards, those strict standards that you would have as a police officer, it becomes more difficult for them to be able to not draw their weapon, to end up in a situation where somebody that is breaking the law ends up losing their life over something that could have been handled by someone more powerful, or could have easily contained the situation.
Yeah,
it's the same reason they want to take guns away from cops and start putting social workers out there to go handle these arrests.
Oh, well, that would be like England. A surprising number of law enforcement remain, intentionally unarmed. And their first level of being armed starts with. I don't even know if they have their batons anymore, but they may have non-lethal, like their tasers, which are pretty inaccurate, and they'll have pepper spray.
Yes.
And so that you'll have, you had a case in a school shooting in the US where everyone was surprised in the US that the school security guard was unarmed, and and I think the guy was equipped with a long gun. So he didn't feel confident enough to go there without unarmed. He had to wait for police. And people in America were kind of surprised.
After church. During church. After church.
Her mother's not happy.
I couldn't help. I had to do it. Yes.
So they had that. They had what was it? Okay, the stabbing in the UK. I think initially, I'm not sure if the first constable or police officer on the scene of the girl stabbing, there was a witness, and that police officer wasn't armed and had to wait for backup. And so that was kind of surprising. So I thought, okay, police officer shows up, but he's not armed. He has to wait for backup that is armed. I thought, well, that.
When you've heard about You've heard about the protesters in England, all right? Because they're protesting. Well, they're screwing with people now. The protesters are.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Watch this. I'll show this to you because it's hilarious. You realize what they're doing? The trick to this is
what are they doing?
They are right wingers are now planting decoy protests in the UK. When the police arrive, the only people they find are armed Islamic mobs who mobilize to attack the fake protests.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
but look, they're just kind of getting out of the way. They're not doing anything to them. Here's the thing: there was that other stabbing of an 11-year-old Australian girl in Leicester Square, and here's the thing: I people say, "Oh, that was obviously planned." It's so perfect that it's a plant or conspiracy. No, I don't think it was, but it was like this 30-year-old Pakistani immigrant named Abdullah. He was a security guard. And he's not armed, obviously. And he tackled the guy with a knife, who was a Romanian. He tackled him and disarmed him, kicked the knife away from him, and then others piled in to hold him until the police came. Thought, damn, that guy was not. He didn't think about, the guy's armed, so I better not get stabbed. And other detractors might go, well, he came from a country where knife crime is so common that of course he wasn't scared. No, I don't care. He actually did his job. He was. But here's another thing. Remember there was a stabbing in Australia in a mall, maybe earlier this year. And it was interesting. If we look at it, there was a mall security guard. He was an immigrant, and I think he was from Pakistan, and he was stabbed to death. He ended up dying. And then I saw his friend, his partner, and they'd come over on some sort of refugee or some concern. I wasn't sure, but when I watched it, I said, two guys, they're really close. They live together, and they had some issue where they, you could argue it might have not actually been bullshit, opportunistic for economic reasons. I'm thinking maybe they're queer. Maybe they're, hey, and I kind of thought, there are cases where people are in fear of their lives, and they probably came legitimately as whatever humanitarian reasons. Yeah. But I said, poor guy lost his life. Yeah.
Here's the thing that I have to disagree with you on this.
Mm-hmm.
You see the point too, Shizzy. Seriously, social workers to handle arrests, that's dangerous, maybe as a ride along, not to handle the whole thing, not even as a ride along. And the reason I say this is because whenever a police officer has to engage with someone that for example might have a knife or a gun, the last thing that they need to be worried about is
Nick Rekieta
themselves, trying to protect the unarmed civilian psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever that might end up becoming a victim to this crime. The last thing that they have to worry about is that person that's behind them that they know will not be armed, that will not have any sort of protection or any way of preventing themselves from being caught up in a situation. If you've never seen a group of people violently attack somebody that is trying to trying to arrest somebody, everybody can become a victim in this situation. And then they're responsible for somebody that a police officer makes what, $60,000 a year, something like that. A psychologist can make $100,000-$200,000 a year easily if they're any good. So
yeah, sorry, I made a joke about at Nick Rekieta's expense, but he did go on about that CPS Alicia Sweep, and he said she's a liar and blah blah. And you're thinking, and I'm reading the transcripts, and I'm going like, Man, yeah, it could have. She's going in there for an inspection. Guy says you can't. Maybe it goes up to the point as reported. You can't come in here. You can't come in here in the master bedroom. Comes out with an AR-15 and this is for taking away my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's going to happen, but it could. So dangerous. But we need something lighthearted. So 80 uninterrupted seconds of Louisiana John Kennedy.
Oh, he's funny.
Milk latte drinking, avocado toast eating. Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid. Can I take cocaine with my spouse?
No, sir. No, sir.
I did not call Senator Sanders an ignorant slut. I'm not talking about buying it, but let's suppose I came in one day and the cocaine was there. People who are bilingual, they speak English and stupid. I don't know why we have to give money to countries that hate us. They should be able to hate us for free. Looks like we're giving Lindsay Lohan the keys to the minibar. President Biden is sort of like Kevin Bacon at the end of Animal House, the Cantina bar scene out of Star Wars. They wanted it like Ben wants J-Lo. I'm like Bluto in Animal House. I'm just fat, drunk, and stupid. Frankly, I can't because I can't get my head that far up my rear end. Stick it up there, fact checker. They can kiss my ass. Somebody at the White House has been smoking the devil's lettuce. Okay, we cannot run the greatest economy by putting fairy dust and unicorn urine in our cars. Urinate to get off the pot. My car doesn't run off fairy dust. My car doesn't run off unicorn urine. The spending porn on pet projects, it's just chock full of spending porn. There's an enormous amount of spending porn. Next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead, call a criminal, call a meth head. It must suck to be that dumb. I don't mean disrespect, but the mayor needs to take her meds. Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Jerry Epstein. Name 3 things that don't hang themselves.
Thanks, Taz, for hugs and respect. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Really good.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. Love John Kennedy. Yes.
I saw him earlier this week or last week. He was tearing apart a nomination for one of the circuit court judgeships. There's a Korean American guy named Ryan Park, and he was Solicitor General of North Carolina, and so he really ripped him a new one because this guy was kind of smarmy. This Ryan Young Park, and he was he basically said, "Did you purposely flub some of these things, those decisions that were made, especially during COVID?" And I think he even played. Yeah, basically, yeah, this guy was totally political and yeah, it was brutal. And the thing was, I knew the guy Park didn't expect it at all because he brought his daughter, his family to watch in the gallery. And I'm looking at the girl. She's just, I think she does realize her father is being brutally gaped, in public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about brutally gaped in public. This is hilarious.
Georgia owes President Donald J. Trump an apology. President Trump has been indicted by Fulton County. May I remind you that Fulton County has been found to be in violation of election law, not once for the hand audit, but twice for the machine count. And now we can prove that they had intentional human intervention, which is the predicate for election fraud.
Look at the kid. What is that?
Georgia
is that
owes President Donald J. Trump an apology.
It's a switch.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Nintendo Switch.
President Trump has been indicted by Fulton County. May I remind you that Fulton County has been found to be in violation of election law, not once for the hand audit, but twice for the machine count.
Yeah. Yeah. Little guy's playing the Switch. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Fulton County is a cesspool. I mean, I was talking with Nick yesterday, and he's like, the judge has allowed 13 weeks for them to finish on both sides. 13 weeks.
Oh,
I think it's both sides or one. I'm just like, dude, 13 weeks for this kind of trial. And there's only what, six defendants. Imagine what it's going to look like whenever they've got 13 defendants for Trump for basically the same kind of case.
yeah. Maybe it disappears. I don't know. It's just a weird. It's an embarrassment. By that time, the kid playing with a Switch will be able to vote. Yeah.
Just the things that they don't want to show you. Like this is the UK. I mean,
thugs surround a car in Middlesbrough and set it alight. While this was happening to his car on Sunday afternoon, Brendan was in the middle of a 12-hour shift as a carer, looking after elderly people in the town.
So when I came back home, I saw what happened. I just only saw the remnants of it. It was no longer a car, but a scrap. I couldn't even recognize it. I went to the bathroom. I cried because I know how much it took me to be able to save this money and be able to get this. What am I even doing here? That was the question I asked them. What am I even doing here? I'm here taking care of somebody. I'm here taking care of people, making sure they are okay. They are elderly.
Thugs surround a car in Middlesbrough.
Oh, yeah. You know what happened? Maybe it was last week. I get my memory's a bit off, but this came from Japanese. It's supposed to be from staff at the Japanese embassy in London on the military side, and what they were reporting was initially the news on what was going on in the UK. If you depended on mainstream British media or even international media, you wouldn't get half the story. So they were all putting out this narrative. It was right-wing thugs, and they were not reporting. And what they were reporting on were there were significant level of organized Muslim Defense League gangs, and they were saying it wasn't being reported in mainstream news, and therefore it wasn't getting back to say Japanese mainstream news as well. And what we would see, because we're able on the internet, was that information on both alternative was through things like Twitter. And this is why, Thierry Breton, he's basically the appointee of Macron. He's the president of the EU, and he sent that note. You say, you better watch your mouth, and Elon Musk's reply, there was this thing where it was out of Tropical Thunder, and he said, F you in your effing face, which is kind of, just amazing. Yeah.
What? All you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Council Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, with a group of my friends. And the results, 5 of them believed what I said. 2 of them started smoking. Words, when said and articulated in the right way, can change someone's mind. They can alter someone's belief. You have the power to bring someone from the slums of life and make a successful person out of them, or destroy someone's happiness using only your words. Does that seem a bit too good to be true? A simple choice of word can make a difference between someone accepting or denying your message. You can have a very beautiful thing to say, but say it in the wrong words and it's gone. I have a son who's 4, and he had this bad habit of writing on the walls with crayons. And one evening I walked into his room and he's going at it, just writing and drawing and so on. And I said, hey. Are you stupid? Don't you ever do that again. And guess what happened? He did it again. Nobody likes to be threatened. Nobody likes to be intimidated. His pride would not allow it. He did it again just to spite me. A week later, I walked into his room and again, he's going at it. And this time, he was even looking at me just. I came down and I said, sweetie, come here. Don't do that. You're a big boy now. And he never did it again. Because his pride wants him to be the big boy. Have you ever wondered why nobody cares about global warming, even though it's a very serious issue? It could kill all of us. Because when you go home and you flip on the TV and you see a scientist trying to talk about global warming, it goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from the graphs here, the statistics for 2014, it shows the water level is rising. This table shows that the monodioxide level on the third ozone layer is in a very alarming position. The message never get across. But most importantly, if you are a person who's a role model, if you're a person who's been admired, anything you say could be believed. Anything you utter could be taken as truth. My friend Nasser, he loved his father, idealized his father. He would do anything to make him happy. But his father was the kind of person who's not easy to impress. And year after year, Nasser tried, and his father was like, yeah. First year in college, Nasser got straight A's. And he thought to himself, this is it. This is what will finally make my dad proud. He picked up the phone. He called his dad. Dad, I got straight A's. Are you proud? Please tell me you're proud, Father. Yeah, listen, son, I'll have to call you back. I'm busy. I'm busy was the single sentence that broke the camel's back. And he started drinking, doing drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Nasser, why? Why are you throwing your life away? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? And one evening I got the phone call. Nasser's in the emergency room, drug overdose. I rushed to that hospital. I saw him on that bed, and I saw that machine go beep, beep, beep. And I saw doctors try to bring him back to life. Clear! 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 It's clear that a single word could have saved this life. Words have power. Words are power. Words could be your power. You can change a life, inspire a nation, and make this world a beautiful place. Isn't that what we all wanted? Isn't that why we are all in this hall? Your mouth can spit venom, or it can mend a broken soul. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be our goal.
Hey, look what I started doing again. These
Zello?
are what Velo is like what Zins are in America. This is in Japan. Velo. 13 left.
Oh, like a snuff.
Nicotine, yeah. So it doesn't like dip is tobacco, and it makes your mouth water, and it's disgusting. And one summer I got kicked out on a family trip up to UP in Michigan, and so I was training for a marathon, and so I was.
Oh, really?
I ran a marathon when I was 16. But so I just went, and I remember I ran all night. Then I remember I couldn't go back we're en route to UP. So family was we had a big Dodge, those big Dodge Ram vans or whatever. But I wasn't allowed in. So I just hung out in this 7-Eleven, and there was a guy out of high school. And anyways, he told me how he was going to the Marine Corps. We're just talking. And then one of the things was that was the first time I had Skulls. I just bought some Skulls. And then I went back in the morning, like they're going like pretend nothing happened. And I knew I was pissing him off because I was in the van and I was doing the dip, and then I had a little cup and I was spitting in it. That's gross, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and I was really hooked. It made a lot of sense. I'd been out all night, and but then I learned I got nicotine poisoning, right?
Oh yeah.
And I didn't get the satisfaction of them seeing me. I just puked, and it was wintergreen. And from that point, from high school, I never went back to dip. I realized, oh, that saved me. It's like how people get sick on gin or vodka or tequila or something, but I never went back to it. And then I remembered, I was around people who did dip, like the baseball manager Bobby Valentine. He was when he was in Japan, he was really pissed off because he said it was a conspiracy. He was sure. He goes, he's on television, Japanese television, and he's like, almost on purpose, those SOBs, whenever he's spitting, they catch him. And so I said, okay, this is what you're going to do. Don't tell anyone I told you. First of all, I'll just do a quick sponsor check to make sure it's not a product like Coca-Cola or whatever. Maybe we'll do Otsuka. They make Pocari Sweat. Get the bottle and spit in it. If that ends up on live TV that you spit into, say, a Pepsi bottle Suntory was importing or whatever, they will get so much hell. The TV station, the cameraman, the producer, director, everything, right from Dentsu or Hakuhodo who's doing it. They'll never do it again. And that is the best revenge, and it's also convenient. But then at that point, I looked up some stuff about snus, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll order that for him. But I never ended up doing it because I read about snus, which was almost like dip, but it didn't create all that spit. And and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I see, I realized that in you have this snus. They first introduced snus in Japan. Does not allow tobacco-less pouches. So even though what I showed you looks just like Zin, okay, it's white, it actually technically is tobacco product. But Zins have no tobacco. It's just nicotine.
Yep.
And about a month or two ago, I've been asking on Discord about people who've been doing, because I tried this, and I tried the they had on a scale of 1 to 4, they had a strength of 1 out of 4, which I tried. It was like royal milk tea. And then they had one was 2, and it knocked me off my ass. It got me sick, nicotine poisoned, right?
Mhm.
Anyways, but after that time, like about a month or so ago, I was okay with it. I was like, oh, okay, it works. I went through 2 tins, 15 pouches each. And then I stopped. And then I just this week, 2-3 days ago, I bought this, and I went to the store and I thought, do I need to buy the strength 1 star or 2 bars? This one is 2 bars right at the top. So I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I can do 2 bars. So I did this 2 days ago. I went out for a walk. I left it in for like half. At 5 minutes, my head started going like this. And then I like a retard. I didn't spit it out. I kept it in as long as I could. And I had to sit down on a bench. And I was sick for maybe even the next day. I didn't feel right, you know?
Right.
I felt really bad. So then today, this morning, on my time this morning, I was on Discord, someone's Discord. I was just talking to this guy, and I said, okay, I have a timer right here, and I'm gonna use this thing. I'm gonna put it in. And I went down to 3 minutes and the 3-minute mark, I was going like, whoa, my head. And then the guy said, keep it in. And then by 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I was going, dude, this is like knocking me out. And he goes, take it out, take it out. So I pressed the timer. It's 3:20. And then he was like talking me down, and he's going like, I was getting sicker and sicker, even though I took it out. I wasn't hurling, but I felt like it. And I was just feeling really crap. And they're giving me advice. Like I went and drank water and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then I decided some research, and I no one told me this, but I thought, well, I used to, when I was really stupid, I used to go out and smoke cigars with friends. But because I'm not a cigar smoker, what I
Right.
would do is I would make the deadly mistake of inhaling. So even cigar
Oh, God.
smokers end up getting, yeah. So anyways, I said, what does even an experienced cigar smoker do when they start getting like nicotine? They call it nicotine sick. And I found something that worked, kind of. I ran out. It's not just the water. For some things, there's an argument, and I don't know if it's. I see it as possibly pseudoscience. It has to do with insulin resistance and blood sugar levels. So it's just taking a teaspoon or more of honey or sugar, you know, and that seems to work in getting the sick. So, anyways, while we were talking, twice I reached over and pressed, and I did, and I still had this thing in, and maybe it's kind of gross, but I have it on a clean thing, and I put it in for 3 minutes, and then I put one for 4 minutes. But at the 4-minute, I was kind of going like, oh fuck, I better take it out, because I was a little bit, but I'm fine. So I'm back to this level. But here's the thing: the reason why I went back to look at it was I have ADHD, but I haven't been on my prescribed. I titrated off the only available stimulant medication in Japan for ADHD, which is extended release methylphenidate, or it's a Concerta, which is basically Ritalin in it. And I titrated, so I'm just totally untreated. But then I read about this British golfer named Charlie Hull, and she was in the Olympics, and she's a women's golfer. And her problem was, for her ADHD, apparently, she smokes cigarettes. She's kind of cute looking. She's 28, and so I thought,
all right. So you remember the whole Coof thing,
yeah?
Okay? And I was hearing this report out of China.
Mm-hmm.
Which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it was one of those really short-lived stories, because I think that it was going against everything that people were saying, but there was this old guy that they were just like, oh, he's more susceptible to it. It might have been Korean or something like that. I know that it was somewhere in Asia, and the guy was exposed to the Coof and never got it. Like he got it, but it didn't affect him. And come to find out, he was a cigarette smoker. Like it wasn't they thought that he would be more susceptible to it, but he actually was less susceptible to it. And they suspected something to do with tobacco was fighting off any sort of infection. And maybe it's because of whatever is in the tobacco could possibly have been fighting it off. But that story went away like crazy, sort of like this guy's story. This is the one that you were talking about with Walls.
He's back again to wage a public war of words against Tim Walz.
He abandoned us. You know, I mean, what the hell kind of leader does that? I mean, he just, as soon as the shots were fired in Iraq, he turned and ran the other way and hung his hat up and quit.
We'll get to Barron's new message for voters in a moment, but this all starts years earlier when Barron says Walz' misleading statements about his military service first led him to come forward in the fall of 2018.
So you try to get this message out, but Minnesota's largest newspaper checks it out, says it's 100% true, but yet refuses to print.
When I hung the phone up, I said, what the hell is this, North Korea?
Back in 2005, a warning order went out to the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery to mobilize for a mission to Iraq. At the time, Walz served as the unit's highest non-commissioned officer, but months later, Walz would retire from the Guard, avoid the deployment, and run for Congress. Tom Behrens was next in line for the position and was asked to take his place.
I was like, well, for Pete's sake, if this guy quit, and if I say I'm not going to do it, I mean, what the hell kind of leadership is that? If a company would say that we're going to deploy to Iraq or somewhere and you're going to be gone for whatever amount of time, and then a foreman just says, no, I'm not going. I mean, what does that say to the 500 people that work in that factory?
Behrens would go on to serve in Iraq on a nearly 2-year deployment as a command sergeant major. All while Walz began using that title as a congressman. Behrens says he first contacted Walz with his concerns, sending these letters to Washington. They all went unanswered.
But then we fast forward to the election in 2018 in Minnesota, and you try at that time to get people's attention with this story and also with what seems to be a very misleading statement that he continued to make about his service.
It kind of just sat there. You know, when he was a congressman, he bragged that he was a command sergeant, retired command sergeant major. I'm the highest ranking person ever in the House, and all this lie that he was telling. The state of Minnesota came out after 2018, after this was exposed, and they said, well, he can say that he served as a command sergeant major, but he can't say he's a retired one because he's not.
And that's what he was saying.
And he was saying that, and there was lots of public, lots of cards coming in the mail, for him to be elected. They said right on there he's a retired command sergeant major, just tooting his own horn, just hanging on the coattails of people that actually are command sergeant majors that went through all the process and put all the time in.
A spokesperson for the Minnesota National Guard said Walz wasn't able to retire as a command sergeant major since he failed to complete coursework and requirements related to the rank. Verified documents show the Army corrected his service record. Walz was reduced in rank to an E8 Master Sergeant after retirement and his conditional promotion. Alpha News again asked Governor Walz if he's using the Command Sergeant Major rank on his campaign website for political gain this year. A spokesperson said this has been in the news before and pointed us to a past story where Walz said, quote, normally this type of partisan political attack only comes from one who's never worn a uniform.
It's stolen valor is really what it is. I don't know of anybody else that's done what he's done, but we called it the truth about Tim Walz.
In 2018, Behrens gave the story the full court press.
We retired command sergeant majors of the Minnesota National Guard feel it is our duty and responsibility to bring forth the truth as we know it concerning his service record. I put together information on it and I sent it out to every single radio station and newspaper and TV station I could in the state. The bottom line in all of this is gut-wrenching and sad to explain. When the nation called, he quit.
Twin Cities TV stations and the Star Tribune were silent, even after Behrens says the newspaper checked it all out. The Star Tribune endorsed Walz in 2018 for governor. Between lockdowns, riots, unchecked crime, and a charred police precinct, Behrens felt he had no choice but again to come forward.
Allowing that to be burned down was just like having the Alamo get burned down. It's like, no, you defend that to the last man. If he would have went to Iraq, he'd still be hiding under his desk over there. because that's just the cowardice that I seen portrayed with him.
So how about when he also comes out and he calls you guys 19-year-old cooks?
I'd take any 19-year-old cook before I'd go to war with him. I don't know how he could even utter such a statement. I mean, it's just absolutely sad.
So this election year, it's all built up again to Barron's new grain bin message.
Yeah, that was him. See, special protection. Oh, okay. Pull that up just a second. Boom, 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 boom. Put some of these things out here, and tab instead. SIPC, Securities Investor Protection Corporation, federally mandated nonprofit member-funded United States government corporation created under the Security Investor Protection Act that mandates membership of the most U.S. registered broker-dealers, though they created by federal legislation overseeing Securities Exchange Commission. SIPC is neither government agency nor regulator or broker-dealers. The purpose of this is to expedite the recovery and return of missing customers' cash and assets during the liquidation and failed investment firms. That right there, right there is dealing with those folks. Aren't they the ones that were in charge of the crap with Zelensky? I'm sorry. I guess I should backtrack here a little bit so people understand what I'm talking about. It was Sam Bankman-Fried that was running what was it? The total scam on crypto. He started out purchasing crypto in other countries for less than what he could sell it in the United States. So he started out doing brokerages that way. Because he worked for a major brokerage firm. I'm trying to think who it was off the top of my head. It was a major brokerage firm, and so he saw an opportunity of buying Bitcoin. I think it was something like buying it at like 20,000, and then transferring it over and selling it like he could buy it in Japan for 20,000 or China for 20,000 or Bahamas or whatever. And then he could turn around and sell it in the United States for 30,000. Like that's how he started out his firm until other people caught on and saw that they could do the same thing. So he was buying this stuff at discount rates, getting funding, and then got involved with another company that would take out loans using that same crypto, and then basically backing that with crypto. And then it was the United States started sending money over to Ukraine for weapons, all this other kind of stuff. And this was whenever Hunton was with Burisma, that they were sending money over to Ukraine. Ukraine is in turn taking that money and putting it into crypto, washing it that way, and then taking the profits out of it, and then they were paying back to Burisma and Joe Biden, and that's what part of the investigation was with the prosecutors that were prosecuting the people that were going after Burisma, and then that's whenever Hunter Biden went to Daddy, and Daddy came over and said, "You need to get this prosecutor off of this case, or else you're gonna have problems with the United States." And this is whenever he was vice president with what's his face with Obama. Went over there and basically said, "Yeah, we're going to back that off." Yeah, it's been incestuous over there, and if I'm not mistaken, the SIPC was involved in it too.
Oh, really? I'm not sure if the SIPC, because their limits are it's more with broker dealers, and
that's what they are.
Failed investment. Yeah, is it amounts? Yeah, it could be. The vice chairman is a guy. I put his bio there, his wiki there. He's the feller who he graduated from he graduated with a law degree from Harvard, in when was it? 1982. And for years, what he put on his bio was that he actually worked from 1982 to 1985. Do you know Paul Hastings' law firm?
Paul Hastings. I've heard the name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty well known law firm. So he worked for Paul Hastings in I guess in Los Angeles, right out of Harvard. So, well, here's the thing.
It was Ski and
for
Walker,
year,
but now it's Paul Hastings.
yeah, he had to leave the firm because it's kind of like that movie, The Firm, with Mitch McDeere. You know, there's the film that Tom Cruise, John Grisham wrote, The Firm, and so you join the law firm. It doesn't matter. It's a big law. It's in the Tom Cruise movie, it was a small Memphis law firm, you know, that was doing work for the mob, and you got to pass the bar, you know.
Yeah,
while you're working as an associate. So, of course,
that's right. He was a member of Hillary. That's where I remember the name from. He was a member of Hillary Clinton's Asian policy working group until 2016.
Yeah. So what he did was I have his old bios, and you can even probably see him on the wiki. He claimed he was a member of the California Bar Association, but the thing was, there's 50 states, and of the bar associations, California actually has really good records. I've seen their records for who's passed or not in like early 1900s or even late 1800s. You know, so. And here's the thing that is funny: his name will not show up in the California Bar. Yet he's claimed he's a member of the California Bar for years. It does. He at some point several years ago he pulled it from his bios, but they are still out there. There's always the Internet Archive, and so and I know a lot of people doubted it. So this is what I mean about alma mater. You know, so I was questioning him, Max. He did go to Harvard Law, you know. I said, yeah, I know. But so did Tad Johnson, another guy who knows him. And he goes, and they were at the law firm, and he did not pass. He did not, even though he went to Harvard, doesn't guarantee that you're going to pass the bar exam. You could go to a non-ranked, non-top 14 law school, and you can pass. And the pass rate in that year actually was really low. I think there's an article saying it was like 48% or something. But still, people would say, hey, Max, he did go to Harvard Law. And he said, yeah, I know, but he did not pass the bar exam. That's why the law firm had to let him go. And so it reads differently in his wiki, which he got somebody to write for him. But he panicked, and he called, you know, his Harvard professors and everything, and that's how he ended up getting an initial job in the government. Yeah, but it was interesting. But I mean, it's very much like saying like, oh yeah, I was you know, he did go to Harvard for his JD. It's like saying, yeah, you did 24 years with the National Guard, but you are not a command master, you know, sergeant. This guy went to Harvard, but he did not pass the California bar. So he
just lying through his teeth.
Jeez. And it's significant because there's another guy who's here and he puts the name of his company. He's not a member of any bar, but back maybe 20 years ago, his business partner in Colorado was charged with defrauding clients, and also practicing law without a license. His name was Andrew Ragusan. And I looked at the court transcript of the docket, and they questioned the guy here, the American guy, and they said, oh, he's legitimately practicing law in Tokyo, in Japan. But no, he wasn't. He should have been charged. The Colorado court should have charged him, because his partner got 9 years in prison. Of course is out now. But it was a big deal when you are in this case, this guy puts himself out as a lawyer. I fix problems. And so what's the you have no
and here's the thing. I mean, a lot of these people, they just float around from place to place, and it's the people that don't know any better, the ones that catch the fallout for all of their fuckery. I mean, like a buddy of mine, his one of his friends that he hangs out with in Chicago. You know, we were sitting around, we were just having a conversation, and he was just like, "Oh, so you know," everybody's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I told him what I did, and I turned the, you know, everybody's saying, "Oh, you know, I do this. This is, you know, my career, whatever." And this one guy was really quiet, didn't say anything, and I just, you know, I said, "So what do you do?" He goes, I'm unemployed." He goes, I can't be unemployed." I was just like, "Unemployed? You can't be employed?" I was like, physical injury? He was like, "No, nobody will hire me." I was like, "What do you mean nobody will hire you?" And he goes, well, it's a little bit of a touchy situation. I was just like, okay. He goes,
registered sex offender.
No.
No?
He used to work for Bernie Madoff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I'm a CPA, but I can't, because I used to work for Madoff. Nobody will hire me.
Yeah, Madoff was The funny thing is, when the Madoff news came off, like, I have a friend who used to cover he was a beat reporter for the New York Yankees, but he also covered the New York Mets. And he really, really, really hated the Fred Wilpont, you know, even his son, who was a turd. They used to be the owners. They bought their share from the Doubledays for the Mets at the time. Not now. It's Cohen, right? SAC. And so when
you and MG really need to sit down and talk baseball sometime.
Oh, yeah. So when the Madoff thing came out, my friend was just over the moon because he realized that the Wilponts apparently were heavily invested with Madoff. But you know, at the end of the day, if you tracked it, they recovered a lot of the assets. So, you know, for all the ill will that you wished upon Fred Wilpont and it's whatever, they kind of made out, you know, they were the ones who kind of got their money back. So, yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up. He said, he goes, you know, I have money that I stashed away. He goes, but you know, that because he was on. He goes, I was on the up and up. I didn't do illegal crap. I was actually, you know, doing stuff that was legal. It was just that was the company that, you know, my name was associated with, and you know, I got caught up in all that crap and had no idea at the time, and now that's something I'll never work in my line of work again.
Yeah.
You know,
It's funny though, because working for Madoff, yeah, that would be a problem. But I have friends who worked at Lehman Brothers. And I heard some good stories around the time, like Richard Fuld. I don't know. I like to think the story is true, but Lehman Brothers in New York, they had a fitness room, a workout room, whatever. So during the point of the crisis, and Dick Fuld is a big guy, you know, he looks like a gorilla. I heard somebody punched him out, and in the gym, in the Lehman Brothers gym, and I think that's pretty. Yeah, he didn't do anything, but there was a lot of he was a terrible. And then there was AIG. AIG, Lehman Brothers, AIG. What else was there that went down? The Enron and MCI WorldCom. Yeah. So I have when my friend Jim, he's retired. He was the legat for FBI, and so he was ready. He was potentially able to retire, and at different points, I kind of recommended, because I happen to know them. Like I said, you want to talk to Lehman Brothers, and this is before their collapse. And so he interviewed. I remember there's a guy who ran Lehman Brothers security. His name was Alistair Barron, and he was former MI6. And there's an offer, but he kind of went, no, it's okay. He continues with FBI. And then he also did a talk to someone at AIG at the time because Don Kanak was the head of AIG Japan. And but then he goes, nah, I think I'll pass. And then later he did his final stint with FBI. He was unit chief, counter foreign intelligence, office of general counsel, FBI, and then he retired. And then he worked in private sector. Then those conversations he had earlier, then he was ready to go into private sector. He worked for Shinsei Bank for a year. And then for a long time, he's retired now. He worked for, he was director of intellectual property rights enforcement for Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, LVMH. But then someone was listening to the story. They said, hey, Max, so this guy's your friend? I said, yeah. And I said, so you're trying to help him? Yeah. So let me get this straight. You try to introduce him to Lehman Brothers and then AIG. Like, what else did you introduce him to in good faith? Those all blew up. And I said, yeah, I know. I'm not, it was just kind of, I really know how to pick him, eh? But it was a good exercise for him. And he's a real stand-up guy. He went to Notre Dame. And so I always do. That's why I probably did more for Notre Dame students than Georgetown, because I don't know, the Notre Dame guys I kind of get along with, and you get their they have a pretty strong alumni out here in Japan, because they're Catholic and they do a lot of stuff with Sophia University out here in Tokyo.
So what do you have coming up? What do you have coming up, Max? I'm getting ready to close this thing down for people.
You know what? I have last week I have a friend, Brett Bull. He's he owns TokyoReporter.com, and it covers a lot of the crime stories that don't get covered even in Japan, because sometimes a crime occurs like outside of Tokyo, but let alone get published in English language press or anywhere around the world. And so a lot of people are really against it. Like, there are even foreigners who go, "You make Japan look bad. We are guests of this country." And no, the dude's not making it up. He's not making up fake news or shit like that. It's not. But people say, "Well, you're racist." Well, how could my friend be racist? Well, we shouldn't bring up those stories. And I get this from Japanese as well. So the stories, they're often kind of some freaky, deletion stories and things like that. Not just underwear, not just sniffing
not
underwear.
just underwear.
And so, the thing is, he kind of closed down the channel, the site during COVID, after the Tokyo Olympics. But I have a ton of stories, and so I was going to go through some of the older ones, but now I just got, if you go there's a ton of them, and they're all kind of freaky in their own right. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna use this weekend and maybe just spurge out and do a whole bunch of those stories. And if you go to the channel and you do see the stories, what I do is, because I don't have the patience to go through 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Sometimes it's only 5 minutes, but I always try to post the link in the description. So just click on the description. You can read what I wrote, or sometimes there's a ton of stories. Just click on the links and then you can read them yourself.
Yep.
And that's what I'm mostly interested in right now. Mostly on the crime. Yeah. How about you? What are you up to this weekend? Are you going to be doing?
Well, this weekend, Friday Night Live on the Experts is sort of what is coming up next. I might do a stream before that. I don't know. I'm getting, like I said, I'm getting over the coof thing, and then of course Sunday I have the spicy chat, which we're continuing on with Steve Gosney's book. And yes, it's shitty the way that they've done him in the Miami and him losing his job because of him writing a book, a fiction book, losing his job over that crap. I see good things coming to that man.
He moved his family for that job. I wasn't sure about that when I
moved his family, moved there, and then ended up they ended up canning him because of a hit piece that was written about him. So we're reading his book. We're reading the not so spicy version of it, and we're making it spicy. That's with Volstorm, Dictionary Diva, Welsh Lady, I Have a Story, and Miss Nocturna, Dictionary Diva, Volstorm. I think I got everybody. And Kaiser Pineapple. That's who else. Damn it.
Oh,
I
Kaiser,
usually
he knows a lot about. He knows a lot about modern culture and media. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And
That's,
then, of course, Monday we have the men's show derailed, whatever you want to call it. That is that's Monday that we do that. That's 2 hours of.
What do you call it? Derailed.
Just because that's normally what we're doing is we're just derailing. It's like a bunch of guys sitting around in a bar just talking, just having just about nothing and everything, and it's a good time.
I thought it was like trains, or
Yeah, no, it's almost it is similar to what you guys might be doing like normally on a Friday.
Oh yeah, we're not doing it tonight because Josh has gone out to Kyoto to look at the geisha ladyboys.
Yeah, I understand. Josh is busy,
so there's actually it's on the 16th of August, which it is now. They have this they call it Daimanji, and on 5 mountains or small mountains outside of Kyoto, they burn these characters into and you can see them from afar.
Nice.
So I went there one year and I said, yeah, it was okay, but
something you got to do.
Yeah,
So I mean that's usually what I have going on for the weekend sort of ends up being a really weird one. Next week I will be covering the DNC.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
That's Max's new favorite organization,
Yes.
Everything that starts with a D, Max like the D. DEI, DNC, yeah.
D. Yeah.
Give me the D. Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah, that's so
Yeah, FNL will be tonight over on the Experts, as it always is, and it's the best place or it's Shizzy's on Sundays. Yeah. We have a good time. We have a good time on Sundays reading stories and giving stories voice, I guess is the best way to put it. We were doing AI stuff, but we've actually been doing like actual writers and not AI stories. So it's been good. It's picking up.
You know what? When I was a kid a long time ago, so you get your dad's like or somebody's dad's Penthouse magazines, and you read the forum articles, and I remember it was like in that movie Splash with the mermaid and one of the comedians, maybe it was John Candy.
Yeah.
He's all excited. He goes, "Hey, Penthouse printed my article," and but nowadays I wonder if people don't read anymore, but maybe if they are, maybe they're making AI generated.
Oh yeah,
I once did a dick that was this big.
The only problem with the AI generated stuff is if you're using like ChatGPT or something like that, and you try to write any sort of salacious material like that, it'll automatically say nope. This is.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
That's
it won't let you do it.
That was so. I remember one social scientist, he actually went through, maybe it was in like 1970s 80s Penthouse forums, self-reported penile size, and they were they were like huge. If you were a kid in the 1970s and you were reading self-reported penile size, you would probably have PTSD, small penis traumatic syndrome, because they were like 11 inches and it was like 10, 11. I'm not kidding. And you'd be, if you're a kid, you'd be like, and it was a really high self-reported number. And if you believe that pro wrestling was for real, and you believe what was in the forums was real, yeah, you'd be a real head case there. Yeah.
Zach self-reported average 14 inches. Everybody, have a wonderful day, and I'm going to be sending you all over to see the baker. I know that got a few people. They'll probably be streaming here later on. I know the Gutters Girl runs a stream here in the mornings. Go check out Max's channel and make sure that you're subbed up to him. Let's see if we can get this man, monetized, and he can actually give us some good humor, because Max is good humor. Max is not asshole. All right, guys.
Just murder.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys. Tonight. Peace, y'all.
Good night.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.